February 8th, 1978, Lake Winnipesaukee, New Hampshire. The first Space Invaders game console arrives in the United States. A defining classic of early arcade gaming, few know that the game was originally designed as a training simulation for the Army's new rolling back-and-forth missile launcher. However, the game's tactical purpose was scrapped when it was determined that when they invade, the Space Invaders would probably not just slowly drop down to Earth in a two-dimensional plane. And so the rolling back-and-forth missile launcher, or RBAFML, was eventually phased out in favor of the Galaga defense system.
You know what that is, Matty Keys?
I recognize it.
That would be the Dr. Mario commercial for 90s America.
I
can play it again.
My glowing pants love
The
it.
other guy.
By my clock, that is 7 seconds of wabba dabba dooba dabos.
Well, nothing moves video games like scat singing. Especially not bad scat singing.
Leave it at the scat, and I'm sold.
It's gone from scat to shit singing.
We talked all about, we talked a bit about game commercials last week, 3DOs. And this week, I'm going to say, I'm Christopher Antista.
I am Brett Elston.
I'm Michael Raparez.
And I'm Matt Keast.
Matt Keast making his triumphant return. He's going to make an appearance once every 40 or so episodes, apparently. We're going to talk about BioShock a bit. And
The second one, to be specific.
the second one, I'm a little out of sorts. I got off the plane about noon today. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry about twittering a picture of my dick. That was
No, you're not. Don't lie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
was say
kinda-
you're not sorry because you did it.
I know. I saw how many followers I lost just with the stream of urine, and I'm like, I gotta see how many this loses. And it was just the tip, honey.
It was enough.
Horrible person.
It may not have been my dick. I have plausible deniability.
Of your own balls?
It was
Dick.
Dick.
Dick, sorry.
dick. There is a little bit, very little bit of difference.
All right, fair enough. We're also talking about Alien vs. Predator this week.
We will, and we just don't have much. We also have an interview with the guys, Dave and Larry from OC Remix.
Overclocked Remix, which we plugged before in the podcast and on the main Games Radar site, but finally got a chance to sit down and actually talk to them about the site and game music and all that stuff, so that's coming up later.
Yeah.
We're also announcing the winners of the Tatsunoko versus Capcom kind of versus contest in the forums, so somebody will be winning that game later in this
Later in the third segment, but it's going to be a little short and a little light on
the usual
content.
The usual hilarity.
I usually play sound effects. Maddie, you told me you could do a sound effect.
A couple of them.
I want you to try. Like you said, you can do this.
Oh yeah, the explosion sound
Yes.
effect.
Oh,
I've
you
been
have to
doing
get-
that since I was like 5 years old,
All
when
right.
I was playing with my G.I. Joe
Here,
characters.
Matt is here. He's channeling what's his name? Michael Winslow from Police Academy 4. He's gonna wow us with some voices. Hold on.
Right.
Here's. All right. Which one was the real one? Michael. Wrong. The middle one was Matt. The middle one was Matt. If you'd like to hear more Matty Key sound effects, you're gonna have to wait till a little later.
You can buy the CD.
Which give me a little tease. What sound effects can you do?
Well, that was my most accurate one, probably.
Oh
but
shit!
My other
You
favorite.
burned the topper first?
No. The other one's kind of funny though. The mountain lion.
Okay. Ooh, we love lions on this program. Get out of here. Top seven.
But can you do a pterodactyl is the real question.
Ooh, that would be
Not
hard.
many people can,
It's hard to act.
given how few are in captivity.
I was gonna say it's hard to accurately.
There's got to be at least one, right?
Yeah.
Don't fossils have noise?
They sound like the ocean.
If I put a
You-
bone on a record player, doesn't it turn into music?
Yeah. Every time I put one on my rock tumbler, like the really old ones.
You better put your boner on a record player.
Follow me on Twitter,
Little dick.
Cientista. I will put my dick on a record player.
Top 7 this week.
Top 7 this week. Same thing we do every week. This is one that breaks my heart because I've been away from computers, games, television. Milwaukee, basically. I was in Milwaukee.
And whose fault is that?
It was I didn't wanted to go. I wanted to see what an old industry town looked like. Milwaukee's a cool looking. I've never seen I grew up in Florida. I don't see a lot of snow, and I know Brett, maybe from Illinois, you consider it annoying.
Yeah,
It seems,
I love it, but it is a hazard.
Yeah, I haven't had to clean it. I've only seen it like 6 times, and it seems to me like something like you would spray out at a rich kid's party, and it lays out and it looks beautiful.
Can you imagine it falls from the sky?
It falls from the sky, and then you look at it, and it's this pristine white canvas. And it's like, I'm gonna step in it, and nobody gives a shit. You can break it all, you can tear it all down, and throw it in the street and hit animals with it, and everyone just like kind of shrugs it off. Snow is beautiful.
Victimless crime, Snow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I'm so fascinated with Florida.
Welcome to the beginning of Earth.
Top 7. Speaking of the beginning of Earth, Charlie Barrett, who can't be with us today because he got sick on Splash Mountain. Fucker.
In Disney World. But he wrote a top 7. The top 7 ways BioShock 2 is better than BioShock 1.
And I
Just
normally collect sound effects for our top 7, and this is heartbreaking because I didn't want to ruin anything for myself. But there's not a lot of spoilers in this, right?
Charlie is good about not spoiling. He makes a lot of indirect references without like going, and you were all robots the whole time. Like, there's no... That said, I'm really...
Wait, we're all robots
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Bioshock?
Yeah.
We are all robots.
You're also all maybe Cylons on a shitty plot
You're
device.
all sleds named Rosebud. It was quite the turn.
You're all Kevin Spacey and you're all the killer.
Have you played any of Bioshock 2, Maddie?
Yeah, a few hours.
Yeah, me too. That's where I'm at. Michael has finished it, but
I
he's
have
been
finished
promised not to wiki parse. It's too much.
Nope.
I can't get... I bought it, but I'm still on my second Mass Effect 2.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, there's stuff in the game that's really worth not spoiling.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
There is.
All
Number
right.
7.
Number 7, I have a sound effect, remember?
We can get rid of those next week. We were asked to come up with intro audio bumpers for each of the top 7s, and I think now we have enough evidence to say we don't need them anymore.
No, I disagree. They're working really well.
7.
That's important.
Not top 7 ways BioShock 2 is better than BioShock 1. Number 7 is emotional investment.
Yep.
I guess.
I talked with Charlie about this, and I think he makes an interesting point that a lot of people are invested in the first BioShock because of the twists that the plot takes,
And the
because of
$60 I spent.
what it that too, because of what it represents. In terms of it's kind of a satire on game design and game conventions, but. In the second one, it's much clearer. You're not a cipher from the beginning. You're, you have a history and you have an attachment to Rapture and you have an immediate motivation that you can understand because of that, and because you're this monstrous character, but you have all these vulnerabilities that you become better and better acquainted with over the course of the game. You're in many ways more human than Jack was, the first game's protagonist.
It was pretty much just a guy with amnesia.
Yeah.
And
this time, again, you have, like, some level of amnesia. You have, like, one memory of you having your little sister taken away, and then you're ordered to shoot yourself in the head. And then suddenly it's 10 years later, and you're alive again. And, what the fuck's going on?
But it's interesting as far as linear progression goes that this thing needs something. And it's not to kill a boss, and it's not just to get to point A to point B. It's to reconnect himself with something he feels he's lost.
Yeah, and there's also an element of that the first game's protagonist was, you eventually find out. Spoiler alert for people who haven't played a 3-year-old game. You're basically a slave. You don't do anything because you decide to do it. It's because you're told to do it. And this time around, it's the opposite. It's that you were a slave and now you've been freed. And people will tell you to do things, but
Free at last.
ultimately you do have some choice in the matter. And that choice tends to be, kill or don't kill, but, it's more than the first game offered.
Kill or spare.
Do you have a sound effect that's remotely close to emotional investment?
Could do chimp.
No.
I do.
It's also kind of inspiring
But
because this
it
game
comes
is...
it comes as a question.
Did you like it?
It's also a little more inspiring because this is about the triumph of the individual over the fascist, Marxist, collective, whatever. I know those two things are opposite, but you get the idea. They're undersea commies.
Not to me and my public school education.
It all sounds foreign to me.
Number 6.
Unless it's the 4th of July.
Did you realize it was number 6?
Number 6.
6, yes.
Speaking to you as an audience member, I just want to know.
Right.
You guys are aware it was number 6.
Relatability.
Relatability.
Yes.
I think we just talked about that.
Oh, yes and no.
Well, he has who's the picture of this? Fort Frolic and what's that guy's name?
Xander Cohen.
Xander Cohen.
Oh, okay.
And Dr. Steinman. But yeah, he does make a point here that, and I think it's well taken, that this time around, it's focused much more kind of on the day-to-day of Rapture. Like, you're going through places where average citizens lived and hung out. I mean, before it was all like, Fort Frolic was, a playground for the rich, and it was all kind of showing you this very, high-minded society that went and founded Rapture. And this time around, you're kind of going through areas that are just, where the rank and file would go, and where the average citizens would go.
Where I've been is just kind of the ranks where the ranks of the plebs live.
Yeah, where you go to this slum where the ultra poor live.
Mm-hmm.
This is still post Bioshock 1?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's 10 years.
And Rapture's still kicking?
I thought I got them all.
I think it's like 11. Well, no,
It was supposed to be
it's-
10.
It just seems like when
Like
you,
8 years
based
after
off the
Rapture,
ending
something
of, defeating Andrew Ryan, that something would have happened to Rapture to collapse in on itself, or maybe not, I guess.
well.
Not like the structure of
Yeah,
it.
if I say too much, I
Yeah,
guess
not
it's-
literally collapse. but
You're kind of clued in from the beginning that
Mm.
there's this woman, Lamb, who has replaced Ryan
Mm-hmm.
as Overlord of Rapture, and she's kind of
I see.
kept things stable, but she's the one who ordered you to shoot yourself in the first place, so she's
So she's a
obviously evil.
meanie.
Yeah, and she's taken away your little sister, who is also her daughter.
Eleanor?
So she arguably has a better claim.
Wouldn't that
on,
make her your mom?
I know. That's what I know. I want to go find her, but it seems like this belongs to her anyway.
Yeah,
so-
but it's more
I know
complicated.
I know
than
it's
that.
going to get more complicated. Just hasn't
It
yet.
is.
Yeah, as far as the people living there, like there's this really cool moment pretty early on where I discovered this like hovel that someone had created just in a corner of a larger room, and it was like these crumpled mattresses, and then they had kind of hung some sheets down, and they had these bottles with candles in it, and then like some books laid out, so you could see like, oh, that's where a splicer lives.
Splicers read.
Yeah, they like sleep on their cruddy mattress.
Yeah, a lot of it looks sort of like a refugee camp or something.
Right.
Oh, I can move on to number 5.
Yeah, it also makes it much clearer that splicers are basically like crackheads,
Right.
and that there are still normal people down there,
Right.
like who haven't spliced themselves.
They're just
all to
aggressive
hell.
and in your way.
Right.
Speaking of splicers, number 5. It's about weapons and plasmids.
Yep, everything's bigger, everything's better,
And you can
use.
dual wield things?
Yeah, you can use plasmids and weapons at the same time, which is kind of a big improvement and kind of awesome. Charlie actually had me take this screenshot here where I'm using the lightning power on a splicer while charging them with the drill at the same time.
That takes guts to do.
Yes, I know. That
Gusto.
takes a lot of bravery.
I know.
Yep.
Big man with lightning powers and a drill.
Maddie,
So
I heard
brave.
you say that you thought the overall gameplay was improved, and you appreciated that.
Yeah, it feels a little bit more like a first-person shooter now than it used to. Before there was something just sort of floaty and airy about the aiming and the shooting in the first one that I found.
It's everything I took away from Bioshock 1. None of it involves shooting.
But the shooting this time is a lot more fun.
Yeah,
Did they pull a Mass Effect 2 where they there's more emphasis on the shooting than say the first one?
I wouldn't say that.
No, it's about the same, but the shooting is just more enjoyable.
yeah.
I mean, and you can still be just as creative with laying down traps. You have a lot more stuff to play with. All the weapons are basically beefed up versions of the first game's weapons, but you get stuff like the rocket spears, which will lodge into a splicer, and then like a rocket engine inside them ignites, and they just go flying.
Man, Rocket Spear is like
Remember that in Crackdown?
the proof of necessity, the mother of invention. I need a spear that then launches them across the room after I throw
What's
it.
super fun is if you freeze them first, and then you attach the rocket spear, and then this like ice statue will just go flying around the room.
Like a deflated balloon. Just,
Yeah, exactly.
Number 4. If I was just going to do this,
Feel
why
free
did
to
I get the
chime
sound
in,
effects?
Matt. We move pretty quick.
Well, through this one, I want to make sure I'm going to drink, so this is all out of my head when I go home and play this in 2 days.
Fair enough.
enemies.
Enemies.
The enemies themselves. So I guess it's a reference to the little sister, or big sister, I should say.
Yeah, the big sister
They're
and
brute
the
splicers.
splicers themselves are, better organized. They,
Looks like
they
he's
have
wearing a
more of a
50s
reason to be
football
there.
costume.
He probably is.
I just thought the brute splicer and the big sister were more or less I don't know, kind of game cliches. Like I didn't.
Kind of. Well, the brute characters, period, are becoming a game cliche. I mean,
Yeah.
seems like every new game or franchise, like Assassin's Creed 2 had brute enemies.
Oh, this one's really mutated.
Oh, he's super mutated. He's, looks like a giant fat man who
He's
just
been here
charges
for
at you.
longer.
He's
That was my biggest concern
like a
when,
boomer without the vomit.
when they first revealed the big sister was like, really? That's where you're going
It
with
looked
this?
cool, but then it just kind of jumps around like a ninja, and
It does,
I don't know.
but it's also it's cool because it's one of those things where it represents a really fierce opponent, and you're always given warning. Like you'll hear this scream, and that means you have about 30 seconds to start laying down traps.
And I
then-
like that.
Yeah, and then the big sister shows up and will proceed to mop the floor with you. Because she not only jumps around like a ninja, she has telekinetic power. She can throw all these boulders at you. She can grab enemies and
Screams.
suck them dry for
Lots of
health.
boulders, underwater cities.
Well, and
You'd
from
be
an
surprised.
from an emotional standpoint, it's a cool enemy because it's kind of like you both want something from the little sister. She's trying to keep them from you, so it's kind of like you feel this. It's like the mother-father rivalry over the child kind of thing, which is cool.
that was it. Just I hate it. It's like the Star Wars principle when we got the prequels, and they just gave us newer and sleeker models than the better ones that already existed.
Yeah, somehow the one from 400 years ago is better.
Yeah, like when did you find time to manufacture a little sister in between
So
the
is there
fall
only
of Rapture
is
and
there
this?
only one little sister, or is there
No.
like
Big sister.
big
Big
sister?
sister,
Right.
Yeah,
There
it
are
explains that. I mean, the
Multiple,
thing is that Rapture. It makes the point. Rapture hadn't completely fallen as thoroughly as we thought it had in the first game. That there was still all this stuff going on behind the scenes. That there were still scientists working to try and improve things, and that the big sister is something that came out of that. And there's a good explanation for it.
They just haven't got to it yet.
It's something that they reveal later in the game, and I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. Let's move into number 3.
Hacking.
It doesn't suck as much.
It's really quick. I've been able to get in firefights and still hack shit while I'm fighting people.
I have to say, as someone who loves a good pipe dream game, I liked the hacking.
I didn't.
I liked
I
it
did
also,
too, but I didn't like it all the time.
I found it a delightful departure from all the shooting.
Sometimes.
I love filling pipes with water. What can I say?
I
You
want.
should play No More Heroes 2. It has a pretty good mini game like that.
Sweet, sold.
You should play Mario Party 1 through
1
7.
through
One
two-
through dicks.
1 through
A
27.
lot of water movement there.
I've heard. What's the thing about the new hacking? Because it's color based, that colorblind people can't play that.
Yeah,
part?
it's just a-
because it's red and green are the two things you want to
Yeah.
be able to differentiate in
Right.
it.
And it's just a needle that swings back
Yeah.
and forth, and you have to stop in time.
Just guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
Got
suck.
it. Wrong. Number 2.
No.
Maybe you can have a special DLC for colorblind people that's just like, buyouts are free.
Screw them. They
Number
can
2.
go play a book.
Number 2 is
They
choice. Which for some reason I get
What?
never mind.
Andrew Ryan?
No, I was getting the Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe.
Oh, Jesus
He's
Christ.
like, now choose, and he drops both of them,
Okay.
and he saves both.
Yeah, he doesn't have to choose.
Yeah, it's like I can take both of them. That's it.
Hold on. Hold on. Choice. And I think what Charlie meant to say, because we talked about it beforehand, and that the things you're asked to do, the decisions you're asked to make seem to have a lot more stake
Yeah.
than they did in the last game. And the one that I've made was actually kind of cool. So I was sort of horrified that I was kind of being asked by the game to do this, and I didn't have to.
Yeah. Well, that's the interesting thing, that they're still basically kill or spare decisions, but there are very good reasons to do both. It's not just a clear good or evil action.
That's what he said. He went back and played it again and did the stuff games would usually not have you do, and there was a very, very clear incentive to do so. I guess the first one he got like a golden century or something like that.
Maybe.
They come around with them. Anyway,
I don't know.
Well,
I always play as the good guy no matter what.
I know I can't not play as a good guy.
I know.
It sucks.
Well,
It's ingrained in me.
The problem in the first one was that they made it sound like you could be greedy and get more at them if you were evil to the sisters, but you didn't. You just got it sooner. So it was kind of like took away from that. So is it different this time?
Well, it's similar. You will get more if you harvest, I think, but you will still get little rewards from the sisters, and that's like the guy who's kind of guiding you through by radio. At one point says it's like, oh, you can spare them. I mean, they'll probably thank you and you'll get a reward, but you really need this atom right now. And so, if you don't harvest, you won't be able to get everything, all the really cool power-ups. You will get a lot of stuff, but it just won't be as much. And so there is.
They came out and gave me a teddy bear.
Yeah, they do, but you still don't get quite as much.
Choice. Who's ready to go into number one?
It's still pretty clear choices. You probably don't want to kill the little girls, but
You probably don't want to what?
kill the little girls given the option. It's just a bad idea. In
Sound
general.
effect show. Number one.
Number one.
The end.
The end. Yeah, I know. I keep hearing. God damn it! I want to go play this.
I will agree with this, and I'll try not to spoil too much. The fight with Atlas in the first game was pretty much criticized for being just like, oh, it's just like a video gamey boss fight. It's completely inconsistent with everything that came before it. It's meaningless. Why do I have to do this? There's nothing like that in BioShock 2. That instead you get just this really long set piece that's more about exploration and cool revelations. You will learn a lot about the main characters, and it's a lot more satisfying in the end than just Atlas is gonna Hulk out and I'm gonna fight him now.
It ain't like that this time.
No, it's not like
Doesn't
that
pull
at
an
all.
Arkham Asylum on us.
Right.
All right.
No hulked out Joker.
Hold on. I'm registering a URL.
Hulked out Joker.
Those references don't mix.
But yeah, and
Sorry.
the way that level unfolds is a little bit different depending on your actions through the game up to that point. So that's kind of cool that it just reveals different aspects of the character, and Brett's getting bored. So
No, I was
maybe we
just
should move
exhaling away from the microphone, so I didn't breathe into
The
the mic.
new record room is a little hot.
on. It is really fucking hot.
It is really hot.
I do
Something
not like
may
it
have to
at
be
all.
done.
I want to go back to the boardroom.
I don't disagree with you, but this is what we've been allotted, and they said they fire us all if we didn't move in here. And if you guys didn't comment on the TalkRadar 89 page and
We
comment
can buy a
our
fan and
boards,
put it in here. Cut out
not
Okay.
until
Let's cut out a rectangle right here in the wall and put it in an air conditioner.
we need 50 people to comment on the TalkRadar 89 article
thing
over
is,
the weekend.
There's fucking air vents in here. Why is the air not coming through?
As I shut it down.
I have
Oh,
to
you're
say,
a
I'm
bastard.
I have
one of the
that
few
kind of
people
pull.
who I thought the final fight in the first BioShock was bizarre and definitely out of character, but I wasn't as bothered
I
by
know,
it as
people
people
like
seem.
live
It was
it.
an okay boss fight.
They
I'll
seem
say
to be
that.
really been out of shape, and I'm like, I thought it was a cool boss fight, and yeah, it was a little over the top for what the game had been, but this is also the same game I was fighting mutated deep sea space suits, and things with nuts falling out of their eyeballs, and just everything looks
I
weird
get
as
that,
hell.
but
And it's like, really, the
in the
guy
scheme
shooting
of
lightning
things,
is too much for you?
We've done plenty of what the fuck trapdoor reveals,
Yeah.
and this that never goes on there. We do Indigo Prophecy and
Right.
other stuff like that.
Plus, I thought the fucking very short, succinct, to the point
It's a beautiful ending.
and it's one of the best. And using the
It's great.
time you
It's-
have to tell the most important part of the story, I don't need a 90-minute ending.
it's one of the few
To
endings
yank,
you can
yank.
you can surmise in an animated GIF.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. Who wants to go into break? Michael
Let's
wants
go
to say
into break.
something.
I do. Well, no, I was going to say, it's not a 90-minute ending. It's longer than the first game's ending, but it's no less affecting.
I've heard it's still pretty short, but as long as it's as effective, I'm totally
and I
fine.
think it's more satisfying. You kind of get more out of it. But
I gotta say that BioShock ending is about the only game ending I've teared up.
You know what it reminds me of?
it was a really good ending.
It reminds me of the Raising Arizona, the ending to Raising Arizona, where it's not necessarily specified that this is exactly what happens. It's just sort of hinted at. I had a dream. I got to see all these girls off to college.
Oh yeah.
He's waving at me and High Junior. And these nervous. All right, we're gonna go into break. What do you say, Maddie? You want to tease the people with a good voice? We're gonna do that right at the very beginning.
You mean like the mountain lion?
Hell yeah, motherfucker! Mountain lions.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do I tease it without doing the sound?
Hold on.
I think
Let
we
me
just
see.
did actually.
Yeah.
No, God, these new sound effects are not working.
That's a good one.
Sounds like most mountain lions I've heard.
I think that's a Georgia mountain lion, actually.
Georgia mountain lion. We're going to go to break. You're going to hear a elongated interview, which I thought was awesome with the OC Remix guys.
We had a lot of fun talking.
And I really hope that leads to us doing a lot more stuff with them because I have no idea why nobody snagged them up yet.
Yeah, and in the break, we've also got, like, as an example of, we've played some overclocked remixes underneath some podcast material before.
Oh yeah.
Usually with a
sorry about the lack of attribution.
Oh, I usually tweet
Very
who it
rare
is,
case.
or it's on the pages, that link to the podcast. But I took, like, I made two, and we're going to play them in either break. Like, the first one up here is, it's Wizards and Warriors.
Oh.
Classic NES game, but, like, it starts with the NES version, and then I crudely faded it into the remix version. But it kind of gives you an example of, like...
We call this a remix.
A remix. A bremix.
A bremix.
Just the level of quality that goes into these remixes. These aren't just like people banging on keyboards. I made a video game remix, it's really good, like a YouTube tribute video. These are like real musicians.
Like real musicians cutting their chops on something they love.
Yeah, and we'll just play a couple and hopefully do something like a brief thing each week on Overclocked, like a new song or something like that. But we'll also talk about new games this week, like Aliens vs. Predator. Woo.
It's Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and you're listening to TalkRadar on GamesRadar.com. Dig it!
All right, who do we have on the line here?
Well, okay, awesome. My name is Blackie McBlackerton. I'm the token black member of Overclocked Remix. Does that work?
He's the Overclocked Remix equivalent of me, and that's a joke to people who know I'm not black. And who else do we have?
This is David Lloyd, also known as DJ Pretzel on the site, and I guess I have the honor of being able to say that I started the site. President and founder is what it says on my signature to make it seem all like impressive and whatnot.
It is impressive, I think.
It's impressive.
Brett and I can agree this is one of our favorite sites.
Oh yeah,
ever.
This is like a meeting we've been trying to orchestrate for a while. We just finally got around to everybody having the same time available. But huge fan of the site. Like growing up, obsessed with game music, and like remember just sitting in front of my NES like as a 9-year-old, just going, "Man, Double Dragon is so cool." Well, the music is, but I don't like the game. and then discovering the site, around 2001, and just been stuck with it ever since. I just kind of want to talk to you guys about how the last 10 years have been and where it's going and just kind of...
Has it been 10 years?
It's been 10 years. As of December 11th of last year, actually, we celebrated our official 10-year anniversary.
Jesus, happy birthday.
No, it's like, and what I say, when we do conventions and presentations and whatnot, is like, the internet years are pretty much like dog years. So we're basically 70 years old. We're wearing Depend.
Yeah.
Dot walkers.
And I've brought up this site, Overclock Remix, on the podcast before, and even on the main Games Radar site. But also just in your own words, like if you want to do like a quick recap, like what it is Overclock does and why you founded it, and why you're both just pouring so many hours into it.
Cool. Sure. Well, more or less, the short version is that Overclock Remix is a site where fans submit their own remixes of video game music. So you take like Mario and you can do a jazz version of the main theme, or you take Zelda and you can make it orchestral, and a lot of people will take Castlevania and do some really badass heavy metal tracks.
Yeah, it's like shredding guitars.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the thing that made it different back when I started it in 1999 is that there were a couple sites out there that had a similar idea, except it was focused just on like the Commodore 64. There was a big C64 music, and there was something of an Amiga scene. But there was really nothing for consoles, which surprised me. I mean, I guess the C64 is more European, and Europe is where the techno comes from, I guess. Not actually, it's born in Detroit, but
The Euro dance.
If nothing else.
if nothing else. So I took one look at that and I said, well, that's really, really cool. And you know, I could get into C64. We had a Commodore 128 with, you know, twice the RAM when I was growing up.
Don't talk
128
crazy about RAM.
Yeah, it was decadent. But I grew up with Sega Master System. I eventually, capitulated to peer pressure and got an NES. But I love that music, and I love arcade music, specifically Sega music. But I said, well, why not just do a site where it's not just C64, it's everything, and it's not just electronica, it's everything.
It's everything.
So right out of the gate in 1999 in December, I think, most of the initial mixes were mine, but I also sort of went door to door, Avon Calling, Jehovah's Witness, whatnot, saying, can we post your mix?
Just imagine the idea of going to people's doors, like, would you like to remix any video game music for me?
Yeah. Well, that 1 in a million. You could waste a lot of time that way. But yeah, back then I sort of went to people and say, hey, I like what you're doing. I want to post it on the site. But right out of the gate, the emphasis was on, all different types of games. TurboGrafx 16, I made sure we had some of that action in there. Sega, Nintendo, computer games, arcade games, and also all sorts of genres. So, like, even in the first 10 mixes, you'll find electronica and jazz and orchestral. Since then, we've sort of expanded our scope a bit. Obviously, we no longer solicit mixes. People send them to us, and we actually created a judges panel because some of the mixes are fantastic and we post them, but others, maybe it needs a little polish. We've gotten some nightmares. Larry, would you like to some of the experiences you've had as a judge?
Well, I've been doing that for a long time. It's been about 5.5 years since I started as a judge at OC Remix, and for much of that time, I was sort of the I took it over from Dave as being that gateway person, where I'm the first person to listen to all the music and then decide sort of where we how we move forward with it. And
so you're the destroyer of dreams.
I like to think that collectively we all are.
That's our tagline, actually. Overclock Remix, Destroyer of Dreams.
I sincerely doubt it, given how much I've seen posted there. So, Larry, are you still just like digging through the songs, seeing what works?
I've had so much less time lately that we're having. I'm still helping on that a little bit, but we're having some of our other judges, Andrew Lures, OA, and Vinny Prabhu, Palpable, other, awesome judges who are amazing musicians. I am not an amazing musician. And they're also going through it and helping us, kind of weed out what's going on. And for anything that has some merit, we pass it over to our panel of about 10 judges, and we take a deeper look. And like Dave said, we offer feedback and criticism. And if it needs some work, we try and help people get there. Not just to have a sort of we don't make suggestions based on necessarily what we want. It's one thing to say you have to do it this way. We don't like to come off that way. We just we offer suggestions that are supposed to help guide the artist and and help them take a fresh look at it and hopefully make it a better product. And hopefully, I think we do a great job of that.
It's a product, and yet we're not selling it, and we make no money.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So is this? I guess Larry was stating this isn't like his full-time gig at the moment.
Oh no! I mean, this is no one's full-time gig that I'm fully aware of. Actually, Larry got his job based in part on a resume that included some of his work for Overclock Remix. So
really?
Right.
We created a dream in that case. But it's not for profit, meaning that we do run ads on the site. We take donations from
sell shirts.
Silly enough to give them to us and trust us that much, and we sell shirts. But all of that money is used to host the site. So there's a good deal of bandwidth and server type technical jargon, whatnot. But we don't pocket this stuff or buy lavish Lexuses or anything like that.
What about like a really rad keyboard?
Not even. I
Not even.
But it's out of pockets. Well, we can't really justify taking donations to the site when it's like, yeah, your money will go towards me getting a really rad keyboard.
Right. Have you ever this is kind of the most obvious question to ask, and I'm sure it's been addressed, but just for the sake of having it here, has there ever been any cease and desist or any of the game companies going, hey, now we own that music and you're promoting it and yet blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, actually, quite the opposite. I mean, we've never gotten a cease and desist, a real cease and desist. One year for April Fool's, we sent ourselves a fake cease and desist. So this is a really elaborate April Fool's that's actually worth retelling here. The main April Fool's joke that day was that this is back when Electronic Arts was like taking over every single game company out there and, becoming this huge monolith, and everyone was sort of concerned at the time. But they're good people, and it all worked out okay. But as our joke that year, we turned Overclock Remix into EA Remix, and we changed the little icon into John Madden, and we had it's in the mix.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and people had a good time with that. I think maybe we fooled 4 or 5 out of thousands.
I can say you guys.
We fooled a lot more people than that. I mean, there are a lot of people that aren't regulars and whatnot. Man, they were. And I'm not even just saying it to hype it up, but we fooled a lot of people. Every year we fool a lot of people.
You guys got me real bad. I think in 2006, when the joke was that it was going to become a paid site and you'd have to subscribe to.
Yeah.
I didn't even click that it was April Fool's, and I remember just aiming all my friends. This is bull. I will never come. Just getting so mad. And then I got to the rationalization part. Wait. I download so much stuff. I could easily pay this. Okay. And
damn!
And then realizing, oh my god, it's April goddamn 1st.
Well, that was a fun one because I designed the site and I do the Photoshop stuff, and in that instance I found some really cheesy graphic with a really those really fake photos, an interracial group of teens all smiling and waiting. It's pay now, download as many fixes as you want. And then we also linked it to some sort of PayPal gateway, but we made sure that you couldn't actually pay through it.
Right.
But it fooled a lot of people because we had that link to actually make a payment.
But people were wondering how they could get the payment through and get the access.
1 year for April Fools, we should just actually take their money.
No,
kidding.
I was wondering. I'm noticing a lot of game companies. I think I saw that Namco was opening up its old game music library onto iTunes.
Yeah,
and Capcom's been pretty good about giving it out for free, but I think Namco's selling it. I think Sega's talking about doing the same thing. Does that put you guys in jeopardy?
It only puts us in jeopardy if they determine that the amount of money that they're making on that music is somehow impeded by remixes. And honestly, talking to fans and just being a fan of VGM myself, it's a very different thing to listen to the original, to have the original, to download the original from iTunes, than it is to listen to a fan work. It's like having the official artwork for a game, like buying a Capcom book of illustrations from Darkstalkers, for example, versus going out onto DeviantArt and seeing some of the amazing artwork that people are doing.
Right.
It's just not the same thing, though. It's not by the people who made the game. So it's two different things, and we really do like to draw that analogy sometimes because people see the 3 letters MP3, they're like, oh, it's illegal music, damn kid.
But you guys do have, I would think, a certain amount of cred with even the games industry itself, because you guys spearheaded Super Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, I would imagine they wouldn't even companies wouldn't even consider selling their music legitly until seeing the amount of attention your site's got.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hope that the attention that OC Remix gets inspires them to, at least make the music available, because some of this music's out of print.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of video game music that's out of print. The game companies put fans in a very awkward position of the other means, we'll just say. Whereas if it's on iTunes and it's cheap and it's $1 to get the soundtrack to Outrun, hey, go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of companies are wising up to the fact that they've got these huge library of intellectual property that they can kind of capitalize on with micropayments. If we make that possible and nothing else, we will have achieved a pretty awesome goal, actually.
Yeah, after years of trying to get all of the Advance Wars music and Nintendo basically never selling it, I'm like, that's your fault. You're not making any money on this.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's steal time.
It's steal time.
They don't realize that people outside of Japan want the music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's definitely that divide between East and West. Just going back real quick to finish up the EA Remix story.
Oh, right.
Just to tie up that thread. So we had the John Madden. Some people bought it, but most people knew it was fake. But then we worked with an actual, real live lawyer to do some official-looking legal letterhead, and we sent ourselves a cease and desist letter from Electronic Arts. saying like, we're shutting your site down, we're talking to your ISP, remove John Madden immediately.
Wow.
Things like that. In legalese, so it was actually really, really believable. And there were staff members that got fooled by this because only a couple people were on the inside. So that was pretty much our grand April Fool's, 1-2 punch that year. So that's the only cease and desist we've gotten. And mention, Capcom, a lot of companies work with us. It's so much easier to work with fans who, by the way, are also customers than to work against.
So do you ever, has it been an uphill struggle at all, like now it's not as bad, but maybe in the beginning, like to kind of justify and prove that game music is not something to toss away? Like even people who visit a video game website every day, eat, breathe, sleep games, and then you go, oh, but did you listen to the music? I don't pay attention to the music, and is it lessening up at all?
Yes and no. Certain types of gamers, like gamers that are into RPGs, are usually music aficionados. I mean, there's a real correlation. People into fighting games or like sports games, especially we already mentioned John Madden, but especially your sports games fans, it's a much harder sell. So it's hard to generalize gamers as even a single demographic anymore, because there are really sub demographics within the term gamer. Some of them are really always into the music, always have been. Others, it takes some convincing. One of the things that we did just last year in 2009 was we added every single mix on the site to YouTube, and I think making the music, Larry was like a big half of that equation, and then Jose the Bronx Weekend, who actually did this like info style.
No, that's been incredibly useful, because anytime I'm like, oh hey, check this out, I can just very quickly link directly to a thing. You can hear it right now. It's really cool.
Absolutely, and just making it more accessible is the biggest thing we've been able to do, because once people hear the music, even if they don't like video games, there's usually some song on the site will speak to them and get them curious.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the people submitting, it's not all, these are serious musicians submitting this music, and in any other field it would be kind of met with a lot of acclaim and wow, these are really talented people, but yeah, it's I don't know. I'm routinely blown away by the quality of a lot of the remixes.
Well, thanks. I mean, so am I. I mean, that's the fun thing running the site. If people stopped impressing me, then it would be really hard to motivate myself to continue working and improving and whatnot, because it chews up a huge amount of my time and the staff's time. But people keep on doing new things that we wouldn't have even thought of. So it's definitely rewarding in that aspect.
Now, you both worked on the Street Fighter collection?
Larry was sort of in an administrative role, and so was I, but I also did the E Honda track.
Oh, yeah.
So that's me, and when I play that game, I love that stage. I'm like, I never want to lose to anyone on that stage. It's like, you're in my house now, E Honda, bathhouse.
Well, how did that go? Larry, would you guys be interested in doing that again?
Oh, come on now.
I just didn't know if did you guys make a little money off that?
Oh, that's that question.
Oh, Dave, yeah, you go ahead and.
I'm hoping something when I'd love to see more. I'd love to see more reach outs like that to people.
Well, I mean, I hate to draw the drug dealer analogy, but the first one's always free. And in this instance, we decided that just to get our name out there, to get Overclock Remix attached to Street Fighter, which we all grew up with and has some amazing music, that we did this one pro bono, so we did not get compensation.
Really?
What we did get, and it was very cool that we got this, it's almost better in some ways, was almost better, was our contract specifically allowed us to distribute the entire HD Remix soundtrack for free for promotional purposes. So this was Capcom saying, yeah, we own the music that you made for us for free, but we are giving you a license in perpetuity to distribute it on your site. Which, you might say, well, okay, we're giving the music for free and all they're doing is letting us give it away for free. But to have something like that in writing, you have to understand the legal departments for game companies are not, cool, groovy, hippie type guys. These are your suits, and they look at anything like that with extreme cynicism and skepticism and red flags galore. So to get that through and to get that allowed shows you that Capcom USA in particular is one of the companies that gets it.
Yeah. I've heard some horror stories of game companies, like Capcom, that have legal teams that are just always about to pounce on some fan site for the most trivial things, and there's always one voice of reason. No, don't. They're not actually hurting anything. They just love Mega Man.
Well, I've never seen Capcom really do anything like that. Are you sort of implying Square Enix?
I'm implying Square Enix.
Nintendo?
Yes,
You are implying Square Enix.
I will imply Square Enix all over the place.
I have. I've never heard anything negative from Square Enix. We never have. There've been controversies about fan games and getting a C Indeed. We've never had the misfortune to do that. But I think on the musical front, it's a lot different than games. Games, I guess they feel it's a lot bigger threat to their market and actually takes food out of their mouth.
Yeah, I think they figure they know how to sell games, but they don't know how to sell the music yet, and you probably have a better idea.
Well, also, like right now, I'm looking at our homepage, and we're selling, through Play Asia, which is an affiliate of us, you can buy Final Fantasy 13 soundtrack. So more people are buying their music because of us than the otherwise. So it's really a win-win. And I think, I don't know what goes on in the guts of these companies, whether people are even aware of us. I'm pretty sure they probably are because we've been around for 10 years and some high-profile activity.
Well, how about this for both you guys, Dave and Larry? What's a dream project if you could put together a remix collection a la Street Fighter?
You mean working on an actual game?
Yeah, like if you could put together like a remix of.
Like if you got to score the whole new Sonic game or something like that.
That's funny that you mentioned that. We have a Twitter campaign for that.
Oh, for episode 1 of Sonic 4.
The thing is, you do it, Larry.
Oh, sure. No, it was funny. One of our fans on Twitter just goes, "Oh, I'm right now. I'm downloading Project Chaos. The OC remix Sonic 3 and Knuckles album. It's awesome. I wish they would do Sonic 4." And so one of our other fellow judges, Sharik Ansari, Dark Sword, he's also a judge and a legend.
I know the name.
Yeah, he's done tons of stuff, and he saw it and was just thinking, "Wait a minute, that's not a bad idea at all. Why don't we hype that?" So we hyped it to our communities, through our forums and on Facebook and Twitter, and we definitely got Sega's attention with we had everyone do tweets saying, "I want OCR, to score Sonic 4," and we have our own little Twitter hashtag OCR #4 Sonic 4. So OCR for Sonic 4.
Try and link to that. I'm behind that 1,000,000,000%.
Oh yeah, no, I'll link you guys. No, it was funny because we thought it would be a cool idea. We just mentioned it'd be interesting, and then Matt from Press the Buttons and Combo, he goes, "Hey, that'd be awesome," and does a story about it. And then other people started picking it up, and we're like, "What? Well, why the hell not?" So we're doing it for fun. Episode 1 comes out pretty soon. So I'm pretty sure, you've heard some music. I'm sure they have something locked down, but it is episodic.
That's right.
So 2 or 3 or 7 or 12, holler.
And you call it a good idea. I call it the only idea, judging by Sonic's music the last 5 years.
Oh, really? because I actually think, what a lot of fans have said is that even as Sonic the series has, let's just say, had its pitfalls, some of the music has actually remained pretty good.
I think if you like I didn't get a lot of a Sonic CD experience. I like the old Genesis stuff. The wailing butt rock, I don't understand why he's not allowed to evolve past that. And
wow.
The last one I really enjoyed was Sonic Rush. That was a fantastic sound.
Yeah, Sonic Rush is great.
Sonic Rush. So I have to ask, on Sonic CD, USA soundtrack or Japanese soundtrack?
I'm not going to be one of those sticklers. I love the US soundtrack to death.
Good. Yes.
I love them both. I'm not going to hate.
Yes.
I'm not going to hate on either one. But nostalgia aside, of playing Sonic CD and thinking I have totally justified my purchase. In a complete denial, but I really, really think that US soundtrack is very strong. It's completely bizarre, but I think it's still really good.
Thank you.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, we're sort of in the minority on this one in the larger VGM community, but I like Spencer Nielsen's work on that one.
I know and well, on the same topic, what are you guys, both of you, shout out to a game composer that we all know the big names like Uematsu for Final Fantasy and big names like that, but some maybe lesser known composers that do a ton of great work in the field and maybe just aren't as known.
Well, it was funny because we were doing a convention at Troy in Troy for Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, and
upstate New York.
Yeah, upstate New York. And we had part of our presentation that we do is like, who's the composer, which we call who dis, and we show a picture of the composer and we ask like, who is this person? And no one knew it, but it was Hip Tanaka, and it's like, you gotta know Hip Tanaka, the original Metroid on the NES. I mean, the man's a genius.
Dr. Mario.
Oh, that's a good one. Chill.
Fever and Chill.
Oh, definitely. He also has the best name in all of VJ. Hip Tanaka. That's just badass. Apparently, there was like some band in New York that named themselves Hip Tanaka, and then apparently they also produced. This is what I heard. They also produced like bumper stickers that said Hip Tanaka for president, and so like VGM fans saw these bumper stickers that were like, what the hell?
That's a strange meeting of worlds.
Yes, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna. Well, so Dave, Hip Tanaka would be yours.
I'm gonna. Well, I'm just. I had a story to tell, so you want to talk about Tim Fallon? I'm guessing.
Oh, you know it, dude.
Oh, man,
Look.
I'm a pro Tim Fallon and Jeff Fallon.
Both amazing talents. British composer. He did a lot of more obscure games. But he has been a composer ever since the days of the Commodore, and then I think his last game was Lemmings on the PSP, the PlayStation Portable.
Right. Can I get a little help other than that? Can you drop a little bit of his bio?
Actually, if you go to Wikipedia and look up Tim Fallon, I wrote like 95%. So I'm a complete nerd for his stuff.
He did like Sky Shark and
Silver Surfer. That's right.
Plock is one of my favorites, man. That is crazy. There's so much variation in that soundtrack.
Lots of unique music. He did Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, and I'm gonna just throw out there real quick. I remember when I was at Dave's house. He's got all the systems, man. This dude he's got it laid out. He had a Dreamcast on his like downstairs TV, and I love the Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future soundtrack. So I'm like, all right, let me fire up this Dreamcast. Let me see this music in action because I'd never played this game. Dude, it was the cheesiest ass game. It had a Harry Potter like British narrator, and the dolphins and humans work together in harmony. And
I could never take that game seriously just because of the subtitle, like that a dolphin is defending the future.
It was ridiculous. So I think the one thing I lament almost is that Tim Fallon, he had so many great games that he scored, and a lot of the games, like you've seen Angry Video Game Nerd rip on Silver Surfer, it was ass.
Yeah,
so
the game was terrible.
The soundtrack is excellent.
Yeah, the soundtrack is just amazing.
It's
so,
like even if you don't like the music, like if you find maybe it's too fast or it's too, let's say, noisy or whatever. I love it, but you can objectively, even if you hate the music, you can notice the complexity that is there is not in any other NES music.
It takes all the willpower in my body not to open every podcast with the title theme of Silver Surfer. It's really good.
Oh man, yeah. So that's awesome stuff. And let me just say real quick on the other question on what game would be really cool to score. I think Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix is, we got a really unique opportunity from Capcom USA and Ray Jimenez, who was awesome, and Dave can attest that he was great to work with, and very communicative, was really feeling our stuff. And Street Fighter 2 was my favorite game growing up, so to even have my name anywhere on a Street Fighter 2 game is just that's it for me. I'm good. If I really had to do something else, definitely, hey, Sonic 4, I'm not joking. Let's do that. And Streets of Rage 4, if they ever come out with that. Please do it.
Although, if they had the choice between us and Yuzo Koshiro, I would have to tell them to go with Yuzo Koshiro. I mean, we're great and all, but...
That's fine. We could throw on like a bonus cut. Don't worry about that.
Turn it tracks.
I would just Street Fighter and Streets of Rage Anthology HD Remix.
Oh,
there you go. You guys are on that.
Two things. One, for me, it would be like an older Sega game. I would love to see them revive the Space Harrier franchise. They did Planet Harriers, but for some reason never ported it to the Dreamcast. So that game is sort of arcade only.
Did you enjoy the Bayonetta remixes of those songs?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Bayonetta is a great return to form for Sega. So they're out there, they're doing it. I love the company. It's what I grew up with. So for me, it would be a revival of one of their series. I know that they do the Phantasy Star Portable and Phantasy Star Online. I would like to personally see a return to traditional style RPG, Phantasy Star 5. I mean, I would be all about that.
Yeah.
That's my dream project.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be-
Phantasy Star 2 and 4 alone are like they keep re-releasing them, and I keep buying them like an idiot.
Yeah. Although I actually like 3, and I consider the title theme to 3 probably the best piece of Phantasy Star music.
Really?
Even like people don't like the whole wedding thing and alternate paths, and 3 definitely was weak in some ways, but that title theme, man,
I'll have
that's
to check
great.
it out again.
It's great.
And Dave, that was your first ever OC remix, ever, right? Of that
The
title
first
theme, is that right?
It's on the site. Yep.
You
Back
did
in
you do you did Phantasy Star Burnt Moda, right?
Oh, Burnt Moda.
That was
so
really good.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, Phantasy Star 2. I was like 95% of the way through that game, and my friend little brother pulled the cartridge out of the Genesis while it was still on.
What?
The backup was fried, and I had to go through the whole damn thing.
That's just
Again.
like nightmares. Like that doesn't actually happen.
Yes. It does.
I don't know. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise. You got to hear the music a bit more, and it made
No,
you start
know,
OC Remix. Who knows?
Some of those mazes with the teleporters. You guys know what I'm talking about. The Phantasy Star 2 mazes with the teleporters.
Yeah, and it's
they
like
give-
this drab environment. Looks like a warehouse.
Yeah, exactly. And they give you a guidebook with maps, and it's still hard.
Alright,
Oh,
well,
dude, that's
awesome. I
dude.
think we just recorded our longest interview ever. You guys have been fucking awesome.
No, I agree with you guys. I could talk like just shoot the shit about just not just OCR, but just game music composers like for
Yeah, would you guys be willing to talk to us again at some point?
Oh, absolutely. And just a quick pimp, because I
Please.
feel we are toward the end, but in terms of things to look out for, Donkey Kong Country 2.
Really?
Serious business album project going to be released, imminently, and it's got a track by Dave Wise himself.
Dave Wise, wow.
Oh, nice. We had a whole tribute to him a few podcasts back.
Yeah, this is going to be
nice.
like a huge album for us, and I'm actually the holdup. Instead of talking to you guys, I'm supposed to be working on my track, which is the last track that needs to be completed.
Wow, that's
So-
really cool.
It's
yeah.
something to look forward to.
That's great.
Do you
music.
see the sacrifice of this man?
That goddamn, as common as it is, the Brambles music from DKC2 is still one of my favorites.
Definitely.
Oh, you're gonna love how that's treated in there, though. So, and really, there are a lot of great cuts on that album. Just definitely keep the eye out for it. OCRemix.org, and
Do you have any
it's
shit,
all-
like
it's all-
live shows or cons or anything coming up that you'll be at?
oh man,
PAX
Plenty.
East.
PAX East?
Yep.
Lucky bastards. Jesus.
Sunday. Yeah, I mean we're all East Coast, so we went to PAX West, or just plain old PAX as they call it,
Mhm.
last year, and that was our West Coast debut. And we're doing the initial opening debut PAX East in Boston this
Cool.
year.
Do you think you'll make it
And,
to PAX West again this year?
I would love to, but it's like out of our budget. I mean, we're not guests; we're just panelists, so
Right.
we have to fly our own sorry asses out there. So it's sort of a question mark. It's a little up in the air, as they say.
but would love to go. It was a great event, and speaking of also Boston, Dave, we got RaffleCon.
Oh, you guys would be at
coming up as
RaffleCon.
well. Oh
we were
yeah,
at the first RaffleCon, and that was some crazy shit. Sean got and
Internet, for anyone that doesn't know, rafflecon.org, Internet Meme Convention.
It's just like
Tron
Tron guy. Yeah.
dude.
all that's everything.
Chuck Norris facts, yeah,
Bub
dude.
Rub showing up.
Dude, if Bub Rub was there, that would make my life.
Yeah.
Actually, we gave Leroy Jenkins an OC Remix hoodie, and
Wow.
he was one of the keynote speakers.
Thanks a lot, you guys. This has been awesome.
Awesome.
Hey, no doubt, man. Thanks for doing the remix of the week stuff. We appreciate you just enjoying what the site does, and anything we can do to help spread it, man. We'll be glad to be back on.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
You're doing the good work. Larry and
You
Dave from OC Remix. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Talk Radar. This show am good.
Time to hunt.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Talk Radar Segment 2. That was a lovely interview with Dave and Larry from OC Remix.
It was heartwarming.
Yeah,
I haven't heard it yet, but I'm going to preemptively say that yes, I agree.
I swear to God, they're kind of, I consider them heroes of the web. Doing all this crap for no money.
Definitely for me, on a personal level, I could not appreciate it more. Bringing us into this second segment is DJ Pretzel / David Lloyd. Mentioned specifically his as one of his favorite mixes, his contribution to the Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD remix soundtrack, High 500 for his Street Fighter 2 E Honda stage.
Oh, I love that one. You know what?
Yep.
Matty Keast.
How delicious!
I got a cougar sound effect here.
All right.
Which one do you want to hear? The short one?
The short. You have to do the short one first because the
this.
second one is even crazier.
You can do this.
I can. Well, this is not my super accurate one.
All right.
It's kind of silly. All right.
I want to hear it.
This. Wait, play it again.
Okay, that's pretty good. Can you do that one?
Yeah, that's the funny one.
That's really, really good. Man.
It sounds like it's shredding your throat every time you do it.
Actually, yeah, if I kept doing that, my throat would be sore.
Yes.
They're not interchangeable, but somewhat recognizable.
I do indeed dig. You want? You know what? We're gonna get rid of this Mass Effect. This Mass Effect.
Oh.
Well, wait. We want to get into the good stuff. I want to hear everything Matt Keast has to say. But last of the Mass Effect 2 tributes. This was fucking beautiful.
Oh yes.
Even if I knew where he was, I wouldn't tell you.
Not the answer I was looking for.
I've got nothing more to say to you. If you shoot me, my team...
How about goodbye?
He just needs to put his glasses on.
Yep.
The other. Do you have the other
Space
one?
glasses. No, I don't have the other one.
Oh, the other one where they're like this pile of bodies, and it's such a drastic interrupt. It's playing as Renegade Shepard is fraught with shitty one-liners like that. So it's like you could make a series of YouTube videos of CSI style openings. I really enjoyed them.
Well, we gotta
Emotion.
we got to get into new releases, which I am going to wing because I don't have my notes with me, but I did look them up. We have an EverQuest 2 expansion coming out. I am really excited, aren't you guys? A return to Middle-earth. Finally. What?
Wait, that's not Middle-earth.
Oh, my mistake. I thought we were going to seriously talk about EverQuest.
I thought I was playing a game that mattered.
There's new Ace Attorney game now, right?
Miles Edgeworth.
Miles Edgeworth.
Pro Prosecutor, or whatever it finally ended up being called. I have never played any of those games, but Carolyn has played.
Oh, they're really good.
Carolyn has played all of them and enjoys them all, and this one is just as good. I mean, if you liked the others, this is largely the same, only now you're on the side of the prosecution instead of the defense, and there's a little bit more like you actually control him, Miles Edgeworth, and walk him around looking for clues, and he can piece together things with his memory, like connecting evidence to be the prosecution. It's fun. You are acting an awful lot like the which guy is it? Wayne's World 2 that just says you're just a complete tool. I could be saying anything right now.
Why don't I have Mr. Scream?
So do you get to completely face Phoenix Wright?
I don't think
shove it in his face.
I don't believe he's in it, because if you had played the previous game, you would know that Phoenix Wright is no longer practicing law.
Yeah,
but he was
that
on the
previous game was
stand.
bullshit.
I don't know what Tropico 3 is about, but I'm going to say it matters because I saw some ads on our site.
Vote El Presidente or else is what I've read on our site.
And by vote El Presidente, we mean go click on some banners.
Click on banners, because I, like the rest of the internet, have blocked out the right column of every website on the internet.
Yep, and the top one.
Easy, guys.
Top horizontal.
Easy.
They gotta learn where to put those ads.
You're shitting on the bacon I bring home.
I don't eat that bacon.
Yeah, careful. They'll put up some fucking popovers or something.
Bringing home the faking.
We start discouraging that.
Ain't easy. I did see Data East Arcade Classics.
for Wii.
which is using the term classics loosely.
Well, you got probably bad dudes in there.
Hold on, I want you to guess the ones that I consider the highlights. Do your best, Data East.
Joe and Mac.
There's something here called Caveman Ninja, which I don't believe is the same thing. But
It is Joe and Mac, yes.
Joe and Mac.
Bad dudes.
Bad dudes.
Karnov.
No, Karnov. Not on the cover anyway.
Karnov?
You know what? They might have. I could be completely wrong.
Fighter's History.
Burger Time.
15 classic games. Burger Time. Pete Pepper's Ice Cream Factory. Bad Dudes versus Dragon Ninja. Burnin' Rubber. Crude Buster. Which I'm going to have to go ahead and
Also known as Two Crude Dudes.
I was going to say,
Two Crude Dudes. Is that what it is?
Now you care.
Okay. Magical Drop. Awesome.
That's a fine game for $1.
Awesome. Wizard Fight. Well, that's what I'm saying. Well,
Wizard Fight!
It's $20. It's $20, but it's only coming to Wii, which is a damn shame.
Hey, did you know that the highest...
Heavy Barrel was the one I was looking for.
Oh, Heavy Barrel.
I like that one.
That was
Heavy Barrel.
That was the only controller in the arcade that hurt my hand.
I have an interesting anecdote about Heavy Barrel.
I would like to hear your interesting anecdote.
I went to a Catholic high school, Christian Brothers, and so the brothers actually lived on campus in their little brothers' residence that had its own little chapel.
It sounds like the worst ROM hack ever.
And you go in there, and it's this very somber mood to it. Like, they have their own little chapel with, like, the stained glass and everything, and then, like, they have a bar, and next to the bar was Heavy Barrel.
They have a bar?
They had that's the only. Or yeah, they had a bar. Oh yeah.
Yes, my
but
son.
They had Heavy
you've
Barrel.
discovered Heavy Barrel. How fortuitous.
With its octagon joystick that shreddeth thy hand.
Yeah.
No matter how thine hold it.
Now here, haveth thou a Long Island iced tea.
And thou art saved.
No. Please come back to my parish.
The reviews for Data East are not very kind.
Oh, no. You don't say?
Yeah.
Some of that didn't hold up very well?
IGN
Reviews for 300-year-old games? Oh, man.
Before we invented electricity, we had Heavy Barrel. 5 from IGN, a 6.5 from Nintendo Power, and a 5 from Game Informer.
Ooh.
Who, according to Game Informer, a 7 is an average game, so...
We also have a SOCOM coming out on PSP, but...
Do you know who cares?
I don't think anybody in the UK listens to our podcast. Prove me wrong on the TalkRadar 89 comments. What is this? Wii Remote, fucking pink and blue. Who gives a shit? The biggest release this week, Alien vs. Predator.
Oh, you're missing one.
Rawr. What, Elston? Jesus.
Endless Ocean Blue World.
I have that for next week.
Oh, it's next week.
There we go. King of dates.
My mistake.
Slowly abdicating the throne.
It hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. Just wait till January.
Alien vs. Predator, Elston.
Aliens.
Is Aliens?
Yeah.
Plural.
Oh. Alien vs. Predator. You played it, Maddie.
I played through the whole thing. Yes.
Is it short? The campaign, at least?
It's pretty darn short.
Like 5 hours?
You want to just watch the language when you... All right.
This is a family...
It's pretty darn short. How short would you say the single-player campaign is?
I'd say it took me about 7 hours.
Really?
So they're
maybe.
So they're betting on everyone sticking for the multiplayer, like, at length?
Yeah, the multiplayer's pretty... They got a lot of modes, Well, I mean, I didn't get a chance to play the multiplayer, but it sounds pretty darn cool. So.
I've heard Tyler Nagata is playing on the PC, and he kind of digs it.
Yeah, they said what got me interested in it again, because at first I was like, so I'll have 3 classes to play as and paper, rock, scissors, yank. But what was neat was there's like the whole light attack, medium attack, heavy attack, and like light breaks
heavy.
Breaks heavy.
Heavy breaks block.
Heavy breaks the block. Like there's all of these like relationships with all these moves, and it sounded like it could be pretty cool.
I remember what Wild had said, because he had played it in a preview stage, that all the melees were way too heavy and way too magnetic grapply. Like you hit it and you just kind of zoom toward your target. And I don't know.
I didn't find that at all when I was
I want to say maybe he was just using one, like a specific one. Maybe the Alien.
I noticed there's like stealth kills that if you sneak up, it seems to kind of maybe zone in on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's just from me watching the gameplay videos. So
well,
maybe
the stealth kills, you just walk up behind them and
push a button.
Press X
right.
if you're like the 360, and then it just goes into this long animation where you can easily get killed during it.
I just wonder if in multiplayer, while this long animation is playing, what is everyone else doing? I'm guessing it's sped up and then.
So I like.
No, apparently it's not. That's why it's like you only do it if you think you can be kind of a badass. But supposedly they described it in the review as a conga line. So like one guy's killing the other one, and the next one's waiting to get the next guy.
Yeah, that sucks.
But you can roll up and just throw a grenade into it. And,
But I've had a little history with the AVP series. Jaguar, anybody? Michael Raparez?
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it?
It was okay. I remember I got a Jaguar years after they'd been discontinued when suddenly they started showing up everywhere for super cheap. And I was all excited. It's like I finally get a chance to play Aliens versus
and for $1 a bit.
Yeah, something like that. And
that's how much I paid for mine, exactly.
And it was just like, oh, this is basically just Doom with kind of a cool triple storyline.
I did play the PC ones.
Yeah,
PC
I played
ones
Aliens
were
vs. Predator
stellar.
2.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
And,
this one is pretty damn good.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, like, the Marine campaign is, like, a little bit longer than the others. I'm not really sure why.
I wish it...
But I found it to be quite scary. I was playing it, and my wife was watching me play it, and she was scared while I was playing it. She was, like, so scared she couldn't look at the screen.
Wow.
So
hands over their eyes?
She gets scared easily.
Don't go in there, Maddie!
But
That's a really bad impression of your wife.
Your wife's from New York, apparently.
I mean, I have an issue with the sound effects, which we'll talk about.
Ooh,
but
I was gonna ask, did they mine like the respective licenses for
sometimes,
like the clicking of the Predator when he's like making that noise?
and it's not quite right though. It's not like, but like the Marine sound effects are all perfect. Like just the little tapping sound of your motion detector is perfect, and then the heightened beeping it makes as things come closer to you is all perfect. The pulse rifle, which has always sounded awesome, sounds perfect.
See, Matt was hesitant to bring this up to me. I'm like, no, this is what our podcast excels in, and yelling about noises.
Right.
If only you had some sound effects.
If only we had some sound effects, Matt.
Yep.
Hold on, this is where you cue. What was one of the issues you took with the game?
Oh, well, it was just that the Predator sound effects were... I think what they did is they used the shitty-ass first AVP movie. Because I don't remember what the sound effects were like in the second one. But in the first AVP movie, I was watching it, and the moment they got the Predator sound effects wrong, I was, upset.
That movie felt like being broken up with.
Yeah.
Like I left hurt. And I was trying to pinpoint what is this feeling, and me and another friend pinpoints this is when a girl just breaks your fucking heart. And it's two franchises I really loved and wanted to meet. And not going to get caught up on this movie. Let's not do this.
Right, it's okay. I don't have much planned.
It's just the worst movie I've seen in my life. I admit that it's not the worst movie ever made, but it's personally.
No, this is one of the worst directors I think I've ever seen.
And the annoying thing is I've read quotes from Paul Anderson saying oh, we wanted to respect the franchise, and do it. The fans demand that, and it's why were the Predators football players then? There were these giant, chunky He-Man characters, and then the actual animatronics of their faces was worse than the original Predator that came out
86 or 87.
87,
like that.
So anyway, the sound effects for the Predator, the thing that is so I remember starting to play Aliens vs. Predator 2 on the PC, and I had always wanted to play a Predator of some kind. I love the idea of being that guy, you know. And then I fired the game up, and every sound was perfect. You flip on the thermal vision, and it has all that ambient noise and the humming and stuff like that, and it was great. And now they just do this kind of janky approximation of someone going. It sounds like for the Predator vision sounds in the new one, they were I remember what that sounded like, and then based it off of their memory instead of actually using the sound.
Because I see what they were getting at. We have the original.
Right, the switching between
and in the background you hear I don't have the word, but not a heart, but ventricle. I feel I feel blood pumping.
Yeah, it's something like exactly. It kind of sounds like the womb or something.
But it wasn't exactly a fucking heartbeat.
Right.
And it was blood pulsating through something.
And it has the two layers. There's also the layer of the weird kind of electronic just swelling.
Right,
which made it very creepy to me when I watched the movies. There's something ominous about it.
Yeah, as if playing it as a gamer, it's creepy to turn on, and you kind of just don't want it there the entire time. Oh, let's see what they did. And we were talking whether this would work. Some people, just like you, are going to be so pissed about how this was changed.
Right.
Predator, Aliens vs. Predator, the game. This is what the Predator's
vision mode.
Vision mode sounds like.
Ugh.
Giant heart.
It's like all the subtlety's gone. Especially that. That doesn't fit at all.
Yeah, I know.
And why is it like it sounds like a human heart? Like, why does it sound like a human heart? It doesn't sound alien enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assume, I assume he probably has like multiple hearts. It probably doesn't have a heart.
He's a heartless killer.
I didn't mean to say it like
Yautja
that.
heart has at least 6 ventricles.
Thank you. This brings me to my question of the
made
week.
that up.
Does the Predator have a soul? Matty Geese, he just looked really scared like we actually had to talk about that.
I think the Bible very specifically says the predators do not have
a soul.
Well, according to the game, they have religion.
Do they really?
That's true.
Oh wait, I thought our religion was based off the Predators. The movies have confused me.
Well, one of the things I did like about this game is that they kind of expanded on the Alien versus Predator universe a little bit in kind of some interesting ways. And I don't want to spoil some of the stuff.
Well, hold on.
but-
I've seen clips of the movies, and I hate the movies from what I've seen.
The versus movies.
How do they combine the universes in the movies?
Well, in the movie, which I actually didn't have a huge problem with the backstory aspect of it. I found it kind of interesting. But I can understand why other people would hate it, though. But in the movie, it's like predators have been visiting Earth for a long time, which is consistent with Predator 2. And then they taught ancient peoples how to build things, and that's why Mayans and the Egyptians had similar.
I gotta say, teaching people how to build things or to do anything at all other than die doesn't really seem to be in their repertoire of things they want to do.
I could see it because they're there for the hunt, and they find humans and see potential for game, and they're like, well, we just cultivate this game for a while.
Hunting veterinarians out there.
Well, they also obviously they show that they use the humans to create aliens, which they like to hunt.
Yeah, I don't like.
Well, anyways, but in the game, they keep that consistency of this kind of Mayan architecture with the predator temples, which is pretty cool. But then they have all these giant statues of the aliens, and it's talked about they worship them. They consider them this sort of religious symbol, but they hunt it.
Indian to the buffalo.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Or the other way around.
They call them, I believe, Alien Tatanka.
Well, they call them serpents, which I think they also got from the AVP movie.
Thank you for covering my bomb, man. It was real fact.
Barely dodged the bomb. Big blast. If you want to see the potential of why this mix, because there's been the last 10 years, it's almost been nothing but AVP. There's very little A and very little P. It's just the two. If somehow you've gone this long and not seen Alien or Predator, please watch them. And then you see all this potential, these amazing, not just special effects.
Alien and Aliens, they're completely different movies, and both fantastic.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one's a spectacular horror sci-fi movie, and the other one's a spectacular action sci-fi movie. Both set in the same universe, keeping consistent, and then 3 and 4 are really kind of crappy.
Well, and I would like to say, though, that the game definitely, tone-wise, is way more towards Ridley Scott and James Cameron. I mean, they ratchet up the tension slowly. They know how to sort of do these, raises and lowers of tension, and yeah, it's also ridiculously gory, which AVP shied away from to get the whole PG-13.
Why?
There was that sort of controversial, and I can't figure out why this was controversial, that shot of the alien with a human head and spinal cord.
Right.
And it's or the Predator rather.
Right.
And I thought that was awesome, but then I read a couple blogs where this is too much, this is exploited, this is pushing the envelope, blah. It's what profession are you in?
Yeah.
It's did you not see Predator 2 where he's standing on top of the building holding a human head and spine this is my trophy, this is why I'm here, and I hunted this man.
Mm-hmm.
And in the game, it doesn't also look that graphic because it's in motion. The screenshot lets you look at the detail, but in the game, it's just kind of a bunch of ripping and blood flying everywhere. It's not that bad.
Well, it's averaging a 71 on Metacritic.
Which is mediocre.
The lowest is GameSpot, which is a 5.5.
Oh, was that you, Waters?
No, it wasn't. I looked it up. I believe that's old Kevin Van Ord of GameSpot fame. Up above that, we've got Game Daily. It's a 7. IGN.
Did you review it?
No, I didn't.
But what would you give it if you had reviewed it?
That yes, I was leaning towards an 8.
Leaning towards an 8?
I mean, I think part of the reason, because a lot of the GameSpot review, he complained a lot about the controls were buggy and frustrating, and the controls weren't perfect. But like playing as the alien, you have to get used to it, and it's definitely disorienting running up walls and on ceilings. But if you get used to it, there are a few quirks to it, but they were nothing that really like I went, oh god, this is so annoying. I just said like, oh, there's a little hitch, and then move over it and move on. It wasn't like a big deal to me.
Matty Keys giving Aliens a almost recommend. Almost recommend.
Well, it is short though. That's the one caveat.
I believe you're giving it a might buy. Matty Keys might buy.
I would have bought it if I had to pay for it. Absolutely, I
Really?
would have bought it. Yeah, I would.
I really want to play it.
because I love Predators and I love Aliens.
Yeah, I know.
I love them.
Well, I wanted to ask you about this because you have some interesting stories about aliens. Sort of,
Yes.
kind of, sort of. You don't have to
yes,
go
real
into the
aliens,
exact
the
background.
Real deal. Well, no, I can. How I'll give the background is for a large part of my life, I have known someone who is technically like a UFO expert, like been on TV shows and consulted in various ways. And I would actually be a good idea to protect their identity because they're worried about the Men in Black coming after them. And if you don't know, the Men in Black are inspired by a supposedly real group of the government. So like,
do they have a different name amongst?
No, they were known as like, I knew the term Men in Black before that movie or comic book existed.
Well, some people say they're the government. Others seem to think that they're like aliens posing as government, that they show up and they ask weird questions that no human would ever ask.
Right. Well, according to this person that I know,
unfamiliarity with everyday things.
Huh. They were described to me as people in the government that you didn't want the reality of aliens to be revealed. So they would show up and intimidate you if you knew too much, was the idea. So they were like, and they wore black suits and were scary guys.
Can't remember which X-Files episode has that, and it's who's the governor of Minnesota?
Jesse the Mind Ventura.
Yeah, he's one of the Men in Black, and like,
really?
And he does that exact shit where he asks and says the weirdest shit, and like one of the characters, probably Mulder's like trying to remember it, and it's all like the most surreal. Like he's pulling in a car backwards into a garage, and like says this weird line and then just drives away, and it's like, but echoing that exact same thing, which I think was still before the 97 movie.
I had a t-shirt with the Men in Black on it when I was like really little. but anyways, I mean, I have so many weird anecdotes and stories, but I mean, I could just spout out a few random things that I've either I've talked to people about. I mean, I've met tons and tons of people, met them face to face that talk about, they've been abducted by aliens, they've, met aliens, they've seen UFOs, it's like, I've heard stuff about how there's like 50 different species of aliens visiting our planet. Some of them are peaceful, some of them are not. There's like these reptilian aliens, there's these praying mantis aliens.
Is there a common alien?
Well, the common one are the Greys.
The Greys.
Yeah, and those are the peaceful ones. Those are the ones you most hear about.
The little ones with the big heads.
Yeah, exactly.
The ones that you kill a lot of in XComs.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the ones that, So, I don't know, I mean, my most fun story, because it was my own experience, and unfortunately doesn't actually involve an alien, but it's definitely alien related, is that, so this person that I knew had gone out to Area 51 before, and there used to be a mountain range called Freedom Ridge that was a public land that you could go up on top of and straight look down into Area 51 and watch all the stuff that they were doing, like with binoculars and everything like that. And that went on in like the 80s and 90s, but the government eventually bought that land, so you can't look
what did they
there
see?
Well, okay, so for instance, this friend of mine, what he related the experience to me is that he drove out to Area 51. This is before I went there. Drove out there, was driving down. There's no marked, there's no signs, of course, saying this is Area 51. So he was driving through the desert and went past a unmarked military jeep with these men standing in the back of it. And right when he drove past it, his tire blew out. And then he pulled over, and the guys in the jeep drove up, and they're like, "Oh, looks like your tire went out. Guess you're gonna have to go back, huh?" And he's like, "Oh, okay." And so he had to change his tire, and then he left. And then he came back at like 3 o'clock in the morning and parked his car, and he saw some like glowing ships come out from behind the hills and do some sort of maneuvers that, I mean, the typical theory of Area 51 is that they have alien technology there, which I'm sure everyone knows from like Independence Day. I mean, that was long before that movie talked about it.
I'm not even sure what I believe. I've read this and that, but when the day Google Maps came out, you could look at Area 51, and the surface and terrains were unbelievably bizarre. Like there's almost no explanation for why you'd have a spherical things underneath the sand all over the place like they did.
Oh, I haven't actually seen those.
Yeah, I think they blocked them like the first day, but like the first day Google Maps came out, you could see Area 51. It was absolutely nuts. Like these little underground tunnels, you can see them visually in the sand.
Well, it's guaranteed, it's indisputable that like they're testing some weird advanced technology there. I mean, I don't know if it's aliens, but it's definitely, because they have like the longest airstrip in the world is right there. Like, why do you need an airstrip that long? It's like way longer than anything else. So yeah, so that's what he saw. So then we went basically on a camping trip through Nevada, and then we made a stop by Area 51, which is officially known as Nellis Bombing Range. And so
Nellis!
It's a kind of a cool progression because you're driving on these like back roads of Nevada, and they're all just these unkempt dirt roads, and then you like turn onto this thing and it's like a highway of dirt. It's like like 4 lanes across, so they can fit like huge things down it, and then you drive along and there's like the speed limit signs, and then they get slower and slower, and then you go around this turn, and then there's just signs. It's weird, like you would expect like I remember in Independence Day, they like drove up to Area 51 and there was like a guy at the gate, who's like, you can't come in or whatever. But it's not like that. It's like there's just signs on the side of the road that say warning restricted area. And like if you look closely, it says, no access beyond this point. And then in little red letters, it says use of deadly force authorized. Which is really scary because it's basically saying your own government will kill you if you walk across this line, which there's no gate. Like you could just walk right across it. So we parked there, and then up on the hill, there was like this tripod with like a camera on it, like peering down on the hill at us. I was like waving at it and stuff. But we were just hanging out, and my friend was like just taking pictures and stuff. We would not go across that line, right? Because you could just get arrested or whatever. And we were hanging out, and I had one of my other friends with me, and we were listening, and we heard this sound like kind of approaching in the distance, this like soft sound. And then my other friend was like, "What is that? What does that sound like?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It sounds like an airplane taking off or something." And then it was like this slow humming sound, and then it got kind of choppy after a second. And then like suddenly this black helicopter like came swooping over the hill, like right above us. So the cool thing is that they did this stealth maneuver where they stayed super low so we couldn't hear them coming until they were right on top of us. Because I could hear barely anything, and then suddenly it was there. And it's like this unmarked, like it doesn't say military, it's just this black helicopter, and they like circled. It's like totally X-Files, they like circled around us, and there's like no, because it's in the daytime. This was in middle of the day, and then like there's a guy hanging out with his machine gun. He's got like the black glasses on, and then they're just circling around us, just like they didn't say anything to us, like please leave or anything like that. And then so my friend's like, "Oh my god, let's get out of here!" And then my first friend's just taking pictures of it. And then so we're like, okay, so we get in the car, and then as soon as we got in the car and turned around, they like the helicopter like went down the road in front of us, like go this way. They like escorted us out, and then like as soon as they were satisfied that we were like going on our way out, it just went like
pull that maneuver where they pull up.
It went over the hill and was just gone. But it was just kind of cool because we got like intimidated by the government. They probably like took our faces on file. The
thing is, I bet they get so many fucking tourists at Area 51. If I worked there, I would pull shit like that all the time.
It would be
just
fun,
to fuck with the tourists.
Well, that's why I think like we talked about this a few minutes ago off the podcast, but like that once Area 51 became, for better or worse, or for lack of a better term, compromised.
Right.
Like there's another base that's publicized like to the southeast or something of Area 51 that's supposedly the real place that they do
the extra secret stuff is done.
But now that everyone knows about it, it's like it's hardly a secret, and that so many tourists and people who want to get a glimpse, it's like I could see the government just putting up a front
and like buzzing helicopters over and putting those signs up to just keep the public like
going there.
Yeah, it's
coming
like
back.
Yeah, like
right?
Yeah, but
dangling this thing in front of them. Ooh, mystery.
But
When
just
really
kinda,
there's
just kind of thinking about it, like there has to be some justification for what's there.
there could have been before, but I bet now that everyone in the world, when you go Area 51, they're like, oh yeah, the thing with the aliens.
Yeah, but I love alien. I love the idea of going there, but I would never think to wing it in a Nevada desert.
Right.
I'll never go there. I'll
It
never
is
have
out in
the
the
balls to
middle
do
of
that.
nowhere. It's not like it's right
Yeah,
off the freeway.
it's like if I ran out
or
of gas on the way there, I would die.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd never think to actually go there. But it is kind of weird that even that they have that kind of mechanism in place to intimidate little Matty Keast here.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you believe?
I'm not sure.
I want to believe.
But I would say, I think probability-wise,
Mm-hmm.
if you just go from scientific probability, I've extrapolated the notion that they probably are aliens visiting our planet.
Visiting, but not necessarily here in cahoots with the Cheney.
Well, checking it out, I would say.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it would have to be. If they had the technology to be here, they'd be surveying us.
Right. Well, my logic goes like this. Like, supposedly scientists think that, based on how many billions of planets there are in the solar system, like millions of them have life on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the Earth isn't that big of a coincidence if you consider just how many planets there are out there. So if you have a whole bunch of planets with life on them, I mean, what are the chances we're the oldest intelligent civilization, right? I mean,
Right.
it's probably there's ones that are older than us. And if they could find us, what were they going to do? Not be interested in us? They're going to be interested.
I think of it. I think
I think the barrier there is just the reality of space travel.
Right.
Like, there's no way to do it unless you find a way to do a wormhole. Like, even sending a message at the speed of light would take 5,000 years.
That's all, how awesome technology is that we just haven't thought of a way, so it doesn't make sense to us yet.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is there's this guy named Bob Lazar, because this is more my...
Oh, Lazar.
Yeah, and he claims to have worked at Area 51.
Mm-hmm.
And he put out this video explaining the stuff that he worked on. I mean, of course, he could just be a loon, or he could be just, trying to
I've
make
heard
money.
a name. He was in the documentary that I watched recently.
Right.
It's on Netflix right now, I think, called Area 51: The Real Story.
Yeah, if you look at Bob Lazar, you'll find tons of stuff on him. But his whole thing is that they did basically reverse engineer alien craft, and what they found is that they used this really heavy element to fold space and time. It's exactly like the movie Event Horizon.
Oh, thank God.
And it's like, but I saw this like years and years and years before Event Horizon came out.
Right.
But and it's it comes back from A Wrinkle in Time, if you've ever read that. It's the whole idea of moving space to you instead of the other way around.
Yep.
So
You fold the space so there's no physical distance in between. You just step through.
I mean, we used to think that there's no way we would ever be able to fly.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like I don't see why technology
I don't
can't
rule
figure
any
it
of
out
that
eventually.
And I think of it as like deer. Deer have seen a human. It's probably a rumor amongst the deer population. There's humans watching them all the time, but the deer don't actively think about humans or see humans on a regular basis. It's just that it's just we've been maybe definitively visited that many so few times in the period of history. We've just stopped caring.
Right.
Like, there might be I really don't know if it's propaganda or not. I worked at a Chinese restaurant. They had Chinese channels. It's like, hey, did you hear about what happened today? I'm like, what are you talking about? Alien landed in Beijing. I'm like, what are you talking about? This isn't on any other news station. 4th time in 10 years. Alien land in China, Hong Kong. What are you talking about? No one has mentioned this. And I'm absolutely baffled by it, and I wish YouTube had existed back then.
The only place where that would truly happen is if they were landing in North Korea.
Yeah.
Like,
and if it isn't,
they would never get out.
It's the greatest piece of propaganda I've ever heard of. Faking an alien landing.
Well, if you just do some research on the internet, you'll find a lot of stuff that's like way more than just somebody filming some silly thing, claiming, "Oh, I saw it." Like, there's the Phoenix, Arizona lights where supposedly thousands of people witnessed it simultaneously, and 100 people caught it on camera. So
how long ago was this?
This was in the 90s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and there was a time when something was seen over Mexico City. It's not exactly a depopulated area. It's the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think I remember that. Was it on the news?
I think that was in Signs.
And then there was a recent one, very recent. It was some airport in the Midwest,
I'm
the
getting
air traffic
goosebumps. I'm scared.
controllers saw something hovering over the airport, and they reported this, and it like shot into the sky at like this, speed of light, and like left this weird like ring cloud behind it when it took off. It like went shooting up in space. That was in the middle of the day too. I remember reading that article.
That's truly one of my deepest phobias is that, like, the irrational fear of aliens or whatever. Like,
Right.
And if I saw that, I would absolutely pass out. I would be completely helpless.
I'd be excited.
I have no fear. I lit up lights. I used to sit on my roof, like reading Calvin and Hobbes books. Is Michael that bored?
No,
Jesus.
stretching.
Reading Calvin and Hobbes books in a lawn chair on my roof, like hoping somebody would visit me and take me that day.
Right.
I loved the.
But
idea
now you
of
have
this.
something to lose. You're not a
Do
child.
I?
You're not a child with like.
If The Sims has taught us
Maybe
anything,
now.
it's that if you stare into a telescope enough, an alien will eventually abduct you and make you pregnant.
I'm okay with that.
Finally.
I will have a green butt baby. It's.
Actually, now I do remember. I did firsthand see a UFO. I don't know why I forgot that, but sometimes I forget it.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's talking in your earpiece
What I
right
mean
now?
is literally unidentified. Like, I'm not saying it was aliens.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Is UFO
right
has a connotation
Right.
to it when it's like
I gotta know
it
what
just means unidentified.
And I will also say the caveat that it could have been affected by my own perception. I mean, I'm human after all.
Was it just you who saw it?
Well, it was great. It was perfect. It was like when one of those shows. It was like I was driving at night and my friend was asleep next to me in the car. And right after it went by, I'm like, dude, did you see that? And he's like, what?
Well, what was it like? It just.
What it was, the perfect part is I had a moonroof in my car. If I didn't, I wouldn't have seen it. But like I was driving on I-5 at night and like I, caught movement out of the corner of my eye and I looked up and this thing flew over my car and it seemed like it was like 100 feet off the ground and it was like the shape of a stealth bomber, like flying wing. I mean, it had these searchlights pointing down from the nose of this thing. But the part that was trippy is that it didn't make a sound. And it's like, if it was a normal aircraft, how could it fly 100 feet over my car and I didn't hear anything? And it just went over like this, and then I looked out the other window to see where it was going, and it wasn't there. It was gone.
Oh my god!
Of course, I was also sleep deprived. So
I used to read about this so much. I love this stuff. One of my greatest, driving my awful ex-girlfriend out here across the country. It's Halloween, and my satellite radio begins to air War of the Worlds while I'm driving through
freaky stuff.
The Nevada desert by myself. Or she's asleep, and it's like pitch dark, and it's Halloween, and there's no one around. It's War of the Worlds. Listen to it, people. We opened up a cast with it once.
Yes.
I guess we should go to break. Maddie, I love alien stories. All alien stories are welcome. I'm not going. You know what? Just go ahead and tell your alien stories. We'll pass them along to Matt. He will authenticate them.
I'll try.
All right, we're gonna go to break. Come back. Community segments.
And that's a winner for the Tatsunoko Capcom contest.
That's who.
That's gonna happen.
Endings.
And we'll be ready to believe you.
Hey, this is Mike Nelson from rifftracks.com, and you're listening to TalkRadar.
Hey!
Yes?
You look like a real asshole!
Well, I am an extremely serious gamer.
He's completely devoid of humor.
So what you doing?
Well, my level 80 guild and I were running off to complain about the journalistic credibility of Ars Technica's Naruto review on NeoGAF.
Wrong, Dick! You're listening to TalkRadar! Oh, I'm sorry! You thought you were funny? Well, guess the fuck what?
Amend your fucking review, shit dick. Right? I swear to fucking Christ, I'll jump into that goddamn internet and kick you in the fucking throat.
We ain't no fucking magazine, we got the F word!
Fuck you, I thought it was funny.
Fuck you!
You know what, you two separate.
Let's fucking...
Separate.
We got hour-long stories about shitting!
Came out like a baby elephant. Didn't hurt a bit.
TalkRadar with a house at Abe Lincoln's bonus bill!
Call it the Kid Fuckers Hoagie.
Totally awesome video
Introducing Alien vs. Predator for the 64-bit Atari Jaguar. You might not want to play it alone.
Ah!
Mom.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, a triumphant return to Talk Radar 83
Tastes
Rock
good.
Band this week. Otis Redding. Oh my goodness. I'm sitting on the dock of that bay waiting for fucking aliens to come to visit me. God damn it. Okay, why if aliens were visiting us, Maddie,
yes,
why would they not make their presence known? You were just saying this.
Right. It's totally out of that Star Trek Next Generation episode. It's logical. Okay, so you're an advanced race. You come to a race that's not as advanced as you, and the thing is, if you come out and reveal yourself to them, you're altering their development in history. It's the Prime Directive, basically. Yeah, so you don't want to do that. But once the species is able to actually move around in space and get in trouble with other species, that's when you come out and say, hey, look, there's other people around and you can't fuck with them.
That's when you send Gort down to
right.
You send Gort down to say,
or maybe
now.
Maybe even waiting to like become like a beacon or a hub closer to something else.
I'm not
and
sure.
That's when all the assholes say,
Well, I mean,
we're Americans, we
develop,
can do what we want.
warp drive, all of a sudden, all right, you're in our union now, and we're going to be turning
You're just trying to tell us
Manhattan
what to do.
into a base to get to another galaxy.
Oh, right, yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? What I always would actually get in arguments with people over is I couldn't really understand why would our government keep it from us?
Well, that Star Trek Next Generation episode totally summed it up perfectly.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, well,
It's called First Contact, by the way.
I've never heard of it.
What happens in it?
Not the movie.
Anything
First
like
Contact.
it.
The episode.
Haven't
First
heard of that
Contact.
either.
What happens in that episode, and this explains it perfectly. So Riker is pretending to be an alien, right?
Mhm.
And he to study them, like the Federation is studying these aliens, and the aliens are about to develop warp technology and get off the planet. And so that's the point when they're ready to say hi. So, but Riker gets discovered early, and they start freaking out because they're like, "Oh my God, aliens have been watching our people. They've been abducting us, doing experiments on us." Like they start freaking out about it.
Enterprise doesn't do that. What are they, insane?
But the point is that people are paranoid, right? And then because first of all, humans are egocentric. Like if the idea that some other race was more powerful than us would freak us out. A lot of people. But the thing
we've
is,
had plenty of time to get used to that.
It also
idea.
breaks every religion there is. Like,
well, yeah, that's the big thing is the religious
the best
aspect
part.
of it.
Religion has been disproven a billion times over.
right, but
Yeah,
this
but-
is the thing where here's the thing: there is no way to rationalize it. There is no text that says, "And the other people from the other planet."
There is a fish in the
Well, there's also
in the Middle East
there's
who can live on air and attack small animals, and it's a fish.
Right.
On land.
Right.
That freaks me out way more than any fucking alien could ever possibly freak me out. The fact my fish are evolving to attack my pets. I don't understand what they're keeping. We'd eventually get used to it.
Yeah, eventually. But that's kind of the point is that, like, in the Star Trek episode, that they basically agree with their government that the more conservative elements of their government are like, we're not ready for this. Our people are not ready for this because we believe we're the center of the universe. That's what they tell, like, Picard and all them. And then Picard and them leave. They actually leave and don't reveal themselves to these aliens.
I was going to say we don't believe that, but we do.
But we do. This entire planet would tear itself apart.
Exactly.
It'd be a bunch of fucking maniacs that just lose it. Like,
I
Them
don't.
aliens ain't gonna take away my guns.
yeah, now it's the aliens are going to take my guns away.
No, the aliens aren't going to take away your guns. They're going to disintegrate them in front of your eyes.
There's also people who would maybe say, oh, these aliens are Satan. I mean...
Yeah, that's true.
But so what? Why do they get a say?
Because those are the people who run most of the planet.
God damn it, people! All right, everybody involved with an awful...
planet is run by people who
one of those
believe in
bad
Satan.
religions.
I love that band.
I do love that band. 10 in 2010. That's how I want to. That's how many aliens I want to see
Yeah,
this
I'm
year.
still waiting for 10 billion people, like that song promised.
Just want to see 10 aliens in 2010. Not illegal aliens. I don't give a shit about that. I live in California. Aliens. Community segment? Should we?
Are we there?
I want to talk more about aliens, dude. I could do this all day.
Yeah, I could talk about aliens and video game music.
Matt and I are just we're gonna go off on our own
How about
podcast next
game
week.
deals?
What are we gonna call
Yeah, you
it?
got a game deal, don't you?
I do. I have game deal.
Take my advice, do as I say, save a little money for a rainy day.
I just like to say that I listen to the podcast a lot, and I never get tired of that.
Thank you.
Ever, and I never will.
You're gonna love this. My game deal this week, I heard Infamous was $27 on Newegg, and that's it.
No debate sparking here.
I got off of the plane.
How much does Prototype cost? $3
Prototype.
more.
Prototype is cheap as balls, but Infamous is, I think, maybe in the long run will be more interesting than Prototype.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, maybe
I had more fun with Prototype.
I had more fun with it, but I think the universe there is more interesting.
Well, they got the sequel coming.
Yeah, the potential of a sequel is more interesting.
Yeah.
With Infamous and with Prototype, I'll say that.
But I'm interested in both. Calm down, people. Calm down. Don't come after me like you did Michael. I hurt his feelings because he's going to rip the shit out of Heavy Rain next week. So shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Hate him then. You have played most. You played all of Heavy Rain.
I finished Heavy Rain. On one playthrough. There are other possibilities, but yeah, I'm not real happy with the third.
Really?
Yeah,
Ooh,
really.
Next
like
week.
I've been saying all week.
Oh, come on. Do it for the fucking listeners. Play along.
All right.
Play along. Next week, Michael Raparez, the definitive Heavy Rain noise.
Something.
There you go.
Whatever it is.
Noise. Community segment.
Yes.
We found WinRARs to our Tatsunoko versus Capcom contest, but we also fashioned an entire article that is up right now called, what is it, like crossovers that should exist, which is all your art.
Like crossovers that need to happen, I think. And
It's all your art, and some of you guys who didn't draw something but suggested something, and we thought we could make something out of that. The art team talked it over, and we tried to create something that you suggested. The highlight for me is what is it, like Gundam versus Shadow of the Colossus and Star Wars, and it mixed with Mass Effect. I thought that Han Solo picture was great.
It was a good picture, yeah.
And Late Night Wars with Conan O'Brien beating up Jay Leno. That really hits me.
that.
Yeah, we all want to see that. We all want to see that.
That's a ship that's going to get righted pretty soon.
What?
Jay Leno's descending everything. Descending popularity, relevance,
so, but
humor,
I
colon, descending.
I couldn't explain his
descending
popularity
belly.
for the fucking last 15 years. Jesus.
It's one. It's only one.
I know, but it's just your face when you did it. You were looking at me like...
yeah, my entire face.
Old Navy fleece.
Old Navy party fleece.
Don't call me that.
Community segment.
Yeah, so the actual contest was... Can you sum up the contest?
I don't remember. You did it. Game crossover would you like to see? What two universes of gamedom would you like to see collide?
Yeah,
realize that somehow.
It was like the week that we learned that Lost Planet and Gears were mixing, and we had Seth from Capcom on to talk about Tatsunoko versus Capcom. And he graciously gave us a copy of the game to give away. So your photoshops and your entries, we had one copy of the game. We also said we had posters and a set of the trading cards that go with Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. I've learned that the posters are buried forever in a warehouse of Capcom's storage and may never be recovered. So there will be 2 winners now, not 3. But if we do ever...
Oh, really?
Yeah. Seth was kind of like, I don't know about that.
I do not know.
But if he ever does contact me, or the next time he's on, we'll be like, hey...
What a prima donna.
He's a good guy. He'll figure something out.
I can't stand him.
Yeah, what a jerk.
What a jerk. That's Seth Killian.
But we've got the first prize winner, one that we mentioned specifically, and it's been on the TalkRadar page as well. It was Graboids, California Raisins versus Fraggle Rock. So, Graboids, if you would like, Tatsunoko versus Capcom for Wii.
If you don't, we will forfeit it to...
If you don't, we'll go down the list. We've got 3 winners here that we picked, just in case anyone is kind of like, I don't really want anything. So, Graboids, who always has great photoshops. Like, routinely good.
Whose our ape appeared in our in-jokes
It
article.
is.
It
so good. We had
the in-jokes article.
Yes, it's a whole article about all the in-jokes.
I hope it's entertaining, because it really...
I hope so, too. It seems to be pretty entertaining with people who already know about this stuff, but I'm curious to see how people who don't really follow us
Out of
regularly
context,
react
the
to it.
R-ape, to me, I can't see it as anything but hysterical.
Yeah.
Especially because it's a super R-ape.
It's a super R-ape.
Flying through San Francisco. Doing what? I have a guess.
Being super.
It's R-aping.
Kong will forever be tarnished now.
I know. Look what you did to him.
Peter Jackson's fault. Graboids wins. Second place, Paragon with his Halo Kitty.
Halo Kitty?
It's an obvious pairing, but...
You know, we have a panel of judges here, and Some of them are women, and you appeal to them.
Yes.
Not
So-
saying do that in the future. We will be firing most of them.
Paragon, Halo Kitty. Also, I did want to say I did personally enjoy Mechanical Grape.
Yeah.
The Life Force and the Yggdrasil tree mix.
Yeah, it was really good.
Not much of a crossover, because all it is the Vic Viper inside of an existing picture.
It was just a very well done image.
But it looks
stellar.
Something about it just spoke to me. But you don't win anything unless one of these other two people don't want their prizes.
But I love you.
Yeah.
Who are the guys? Do we know off top of our heads who did the YouTube videos for?
I can look
Was
real
it
quick.
Schnazzy one and
Schnazzy.
Dr. Devious?
So yeah, Graboids Paragon, just message the Prize Pig.
Totally.
The Games Radar Prize Pig in the forums to get your prizes, your address, and all that. And then if either of you forfeit or don't want your prize, Mechanical Grape will reap your benefits. Also, thanks though to Schnazzy One and Dr. Devious for continuing the trend that Chris started of taking old.
But that's okay.
You were the first one that did it.
No, they did it before. It's okay, but I really, I went all out for mine.
Yeah.
And then they did for theirs as well.
Yes, the taking old TalkRadar bits and then making a YouTube video of them and setting pictures to them, or in Snazzy One's case, he actually made animation of an approximation of what we must be doing, sitting on a white table in a white room.
He animated all our mouths, and he has.
No, yeah, the
he
animation.
put me next to my computer, and
yeah.
Michael has a beard.
As
No,
I
he doesn't.
normally do.
It all works so well.
Yeah.
The beard was animated.
It was.
Does the mustache fly off to save people?
No, it was like Dr. Cat, Squiggle Vision. It's beautiful.
But yeah, so that was cool, and the more of those there are, the
I
better.
love you
Because I
guys.
really enjoy that, and it's a great thing that we can link around, and I think it will really help us just get the. It's a very easy way to suggest the podcast. To be like, hey, listen to this. If this speaks to you at all, then please download the 2.5-hour version.
I thought I was the only one upset that not more people don't listen, but then I realized our bosses are no, we do believe in what you're doing. And it's really odd that more people aren't listening to you guys and listening to other things that have no substance.
Right.
No sigh. We got Matt Keast here. Alien stories are going to spread around like wildfire. We're definitely going to have YouTube videos of just saucers.
Yeah.
I used to think part of that was the Close Encounters tune played backwards. I thought it was the same tune for a little bit. I'm filling air here.
No, moving on to the question of the week. Last week's question of the week was what video game object would you love to have in real life? And we all kind of said
Maddie?
what they were. And since you weren't here, do you have anything off the top of your head?
It's not originally a video game object, but I'd like the Predator suit.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
Cloaking plus thermal vision, yes.
That's pretty badass.
The problem is that suit is very revealing. There's not much. You're wearing a net.
But you can cloak. So
Would you take the Octocam from MGS4? Or Stealth Camo?
Would
No.
you trade me for Blinks the Cat's time vacuum? Because I made a bad decision.
No, I'd have to go with the Predator suit. I dig the fishnet, as long as you have the skulls hanging from your
Okay, that's pretty
belt.
badass. Mandibles? You going with those two?
Well, that's
You
not
take or leave
actually an object.
No, you could
Part
use
of
a
your
pair of
face.
mandibles, though. That'd be, look like a crab's
are
vagina.
intimidating.
It would make it easier to eat. You just hold the plate up to your face.
There you go.
Yeah.
It funnels food into your
Photoshop.
pre-chewed mouth.
I love it.
Reader, most of the answers, there were a lot of portal guns.
Yeah.
And
this would be
someone
cool.
pointed out, I had to blow through the thread really quick because, again, it all we didn't have work on Monday.
I
so.
bet nobody said a Faggio scooter from GTA.
Faggio.
That's how it's pronounced.
I know, but I can't help but laugh every time I get on one.
But someone did point out in the thread, the portal gun. It's everyone's saying portal gun, and you forget that it can only work on one surface.
Yeah.
It's you can't run around just shooting everything.
It can only work on asbestos and
and dreams.
Yes.
Yes. And Pip Boys from Fallout showed up a lot. Ones that stuck out to me, and Big Daddy Suit. A lot of people echoed
that's
that.
pretty badass. You can play that in the multiplayer.
Dark Magician said Shadow the Hedgehog's air shoes.
Excuse me?
He has shoes.
Yeah. That's right. They're like roller skates, but without the wheels.
Oh, Jesus. I'll take the 7 pixels from whatever the fuck that dude's holding an air fortress over that. How about-
Broken Thumbs wants Scrooge's cane from DuckTales.
Jesus, me too!
I thought you would.
Wait, did that do anything special? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's a golf club and a pogo stick.
Yeah,
you could
and
bounce.
You can hold on the
How do I not
cranes.
remember that?
I'm gonna say we're gonna
remember
have a
a lot of
refresher course once
DuckTales.
this is over. We're gonna beat it. You and me.
It'll take all
Right
of 30
away.
minutes.
You and me.
Enraged Tortoise. Little bit of cheating because it's not from a game, but I loved it so much I had to put it in here. Calvin and Hobbes Transmogrifier.
Oh, dude, what I would do with a transmogrifier.
yes.
Anything.
I know, probably.
They come in handy all the time.
El Pork wanted the voiceover from Tekken 3 specifically, and I agree with this, just so every time he eats chicken, they could go, chicken.
I was thinking that same thing.
I love that. Like that game has ruined the word chicken to me for life. That anytime I see real chickens or eat chicken, I subconsciously just think that, and I start thinking of Tekken.
El
Great
Porca
job.
PC Engine, always good for one.
Good job, Namco, for ruining food. And then 2 girls, 1 cup of sorrow wants Bayonetta's virginity. But
Okay.
Is that an item?
Object,
it
I
can
guess.
be.
Is that an item?
It can be. Sausage
How do
lozenge.
you collect it more than once?
You don't, but
All right.
you can cash it in once, I guess. Sausage lozenge did mention the Thunderhawk from Mask. It was a Commodore 64 game. It was a Camaro that could fly. Remember the one that
I had that
yeah,
thing.
the doors that
gullwing
opened
doors.
I do. I had the 57 Chevy, and I shot the fucking tire out, and like goddamn Christmas Story hit my fucking sister in the eye and got in trouble. Yeah, I hit you with a Mask toy. Shut the fuck up. You should see what the front of this vehicle does.
You know what I loved about those old Mask toys? You would they always came with a guy and then the mask, of course, and then their vehicle. But the best part is that if you read the back of the box, I always read this when I was a kid, it would say, this guy's mask pretends to do this. Because so that they don't want to confuse the dumb kids from going, oh, the mask can really shrink and enlarge objects.
It
pretends to do this.
The mask can purportedly do this. Should it be animated and on TV?
So awesome if the TV show was just about them pretending to do shit. It's like,
They're all delusional.
I'm pretending to shoot spectrum beams at you.
I thought was that the Superman case, like the first case of like they had to put that disclaimer in the box, like you will not be able to fly with Superman's cape.
Probably.
Because some idiot.
I jumped off my bed with Silverhawk's pajamas thinking I could fly.
Dude, I jumped off my roof with an umbrella, and I never sued Mary Poppins. Nor do I think that would work.
I wonder, did the Ghostbusters toys come with like warnings that do not attempt to capture ghosts?
Do not split protons. Whatever you do.
Do cross the streams for
Yeah,
fun.
Cross the streams. They're made out of fucking foam, yeah.
Only never cross the streams unless something gets a little hard. Just saying.
Wieners.
You're talking about dicks again.
I wasn't talking about dicks. I was just talking about that plot device. Never ever do this until the end of the movie.
Right.
and
then it will be fine.
Yes.
With a consequence-free environment. And finally, Crysat 928, because Michael, you mentioned it, he did mention the Octo Camo from MGS4.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
What's the question of the week this week, Elston? I wanted to see if Maddie had an aliens question.
Well, an easy one would be have you or anyone you know ever had an alien experience?
I would fucking love that. I would read that like a goddamn book.
How could you not?
What?
Read it like a book.
I would just sit down. It's like a page turner, not like it.
Right.
Yeah, I go to this shit to like check stuff for the fucking podcast. Let's be serious. But like, I would just sit there and oh my god, I love alien stories. And
I bet you will get some.
Yeah, preferably I prefer they not be false, but even how you want to believe or what you've heard, like that to me, that's all fascinating. I want this to exist so bad.
So what should the question be?
You want to believe.
Like as a phrase, what would the question be?
Have you ever seen an alien or a predator? No.
Multiple times.
In movies, yes.
Got an alien story?
Yeah. What's the deal with aliens?
What's the deal with aliens? And then
they put you on these saucers and then give you the shittiest food.
Yes. / Jerry Seinfeld.
Keyword Seinfeld.
What's with all these anal probes? How about buying us dinner first?
Oh my god, my proctologist must be from another universe. All right,
unacceptable.
No,
is that our question?
What's the deal with aliens?
All right. I do enjoy that as a question. Question 73. What's the deal with aliens?
No. Preferably, like, state if you believe, or I honestly, I'm a man of reason, and I know that I don't have any reason to prove they exist. So if you don't believe, you can cite your reasons why.
And if you do cite your
If you
reasons
do, that's way more
I
fascinating.
guess the question could just be, do you think aliens exist?
Yeah.
And then
why?
from there, you can say yes because,
I'd
no
much prefer
because.
a personal anecdote.
Right. Well, that will open the floor to, I believe they exist because this.
Oh, God, I love aliens.
Do you think Seinfeld sounded too much like Don Knotts there?
Maybe.
The thing with
Why don't they
aliens,
make the whole alien out of the black box?
the thing with aliens is like I don't like getting the word believe. The word believe in there is
well, that's
like
why I didn't wanna
think.
It's such a faith. Yeah. That's why I said think for the actual
Right,
question because
yeah.
there's a faith thing involved with
right.
believe, and it's
No,
like
yeah, it shouldn't be that.
It's like
You're
no, I think that by rule, just mathematics. Yes, there are aliens in the universe.
Yeah.
But are they here? We can argue that.
Right.
Yeah, but there's certain people I think who found proof somewhere or another.
Right.
And whether even that's true or not, it's still fascinating.
Well, we have an audience all over the world, so surely
Yeah.
some of you can agree or refute
Yeah.
as you wish.
Smallberry, please give us the perspective in India. There might be an alien there too.
Yeah, speak for your entire nationality.
Yeah.
Please. Well, I don't know if we have any other Indian readers.
Probably not in India, actually.
And I just miss Smallberry. Why is this such a big deal?
I've seen him comment here and there.
All right.
Lately, I pay attention.
All right.
I think that's it.
Well, what do you believe? Who believes? Does anybody else have a
Do
story?
you think they exist? We
I-
should
I
really
think
go with that phrasing.
that
It's
I-
important. It's
I
important.
think so too.
In an infinite universe exist infinite possibilities, so...
Does anybody have a story, like closely relating to them or another person? Like in Illinois, no one
Other than
came back
me.
with a person?
No.
Whoever saw, whoever believed?
I'm really trying. Like, I feel like I must have one, or at least have heard one, but not really. And I grew up like literally, it's just trees.
I had
like I should have some. And when it's winter, it's trees with no leaves. It's the creepiest witch town you've ever seen.
I hope.
But I got nothing.
I did have a friend who thought he saw, but he was going legitimately crazy, and he died a couple weeks later.
Oh.
So it's. I don't know, but I really want as many legitimate stories as possible. Nobody.
You're not going to get them in this room.
The only time I thought it was happening, it was my friends and I were sitting in a truck in tailgate in parking lot of the church.
Yeah.
And we were shooting shit, waiting all night, and then eventually, later in the night, all of a sudden the sky like lights up, the horizon like lights up, and we're like, "What the fuck?" And then this slow rumble, like this very audible like noise, and then the horizon is like getting brighter and brighter, and my face, I felt the color just rush out, and somebody's like, "Brett, your fucking lips are blue," and I thought I was gonna pass out right there, like just that idea, because I'm thinking either one, ship is landing, this is it,
the invasion,
this is like it's easy to just hypothesize, but when you really believe that it's happening, and then that moment I truly believe that's what was happening.
But your friends didn't.
No, everyone was like, "Oh my god!" Like everyone's really like, "What the fuck is it?" There's no explanation. There's no way you could ever even. I see the sky light up in the dead of night all the time. Like that never happens. And then this noise, the noise hits, and wind hits. Like so it's clear there's a physical thing happening in the world, and it's that. And like we all run into the street to look down to get the most unobstructed view, and we're all just like, "What the fuck's happening?" Oh my god! And I'm like, wait. I can't even stand up. Like I'm freaking out. And the next thing I'm thinking is, what if that was a fucking meteor just hit? Like, when's the shot? Like, is this literally our last second alive? And like, just trying to figure out what is happening. So then what's the next thing you do when you haven't died in a minute? You get in the car and you drive towards it.
Yeah.
So we do. And as we're driving towards it, all the cars in the county are driving the opposite direction. So we're like, oh fuck, something bad has happened. So we're blasting down this road going, and then we get there.
Yeah, apparently you didn't have a story. Jesus Christ, I'm riveted.
No, and then we're turned away. There's like a blockade and cops and like, get out of here. No, leave. And so we have to leave, and we're like, and that's the hugest fucking just cock block where you're like, but what? And then it turns out what happened. This is why it was not really a story. What happened is some old World War II armory fucking exploded in the middle of the night.
That's still pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
And all the ammunition that had been stored and sitting around for 50 years just lit up,
or that was their cover.
Oh my god! It was that or a weather balloon.
But that's the only time when I've like and again, it had nothing to do with aliens, but like I was infatuated with them as a kid and a teenager, and truly one of my phobias is the cover of the book Communion freaks me out to this day. I can't even look at it.
Charlie
That
Whip.
is, that's infantile fear of your own mother's face.
That's what it is. That looks a lot like people I know.
Yeah.
I always wondered in Mass Effect if the Solarians are supposed to be what we turned out.
Obviously.
All right, forget it. That's all I got.
All right.
A big story that ends with the fucking blue balls. I'm sorry.
We
But I
done?
do think that they must exist in a universe that has no end.
Yeah, if you have no answer, don't give up on the question of the week. This is just a weird one. I had a lot of fun. I really love this alien talk.
Yeah, well, it's one of the things. Is like, are there aliens out there? Probably. Are most of the UFO stories true? I seriously doubt it.
It doesn't matter. But
I have
they're
heard too
usually
many
good stories.
Yeah, they are good stories, but too many of them are similar in extremely bullshit, schizophrenic ways.
Right.
And it's just like I ascribe that more to the logic of people with mental illnesses than to people who have actually seen something and are credible.
I don't think so.
It's like those ghost hunter shows on TV where like
UFOs specifically, it's an unidentified object.
But you got the people who just treat it like it's normal. It's like, oh yeah, we've got a ghost. Yeah, he tells me to drink. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I've been living here for 5 years, putting up with this every day. Like, really?
This goddamn
fucking
ghost.
really?
Keeps telling me to kill. Like, why would a ghost do that?
Exactly. It's like you live with like proof of the beyond, like right in your house, and you're just like, oh yeah, I kind of want to get rid of this thing. It's annoying.
God damn it! Dan Aykroyd was talking about Ghostbusters, and that he doesn't believe in ghosts, but the best example he read of what ghosts were. And you sort of have to believe in a soul at this point, but an emotional response that has somehow become stuck in time. So
Yeah,
like
I've heard that theory. It's like
I love that
psychic
Yeah,
imprint.
that's like The Shining. It's just
not the Shining.
vibrations left behind.
Something like that, because it's not like the person coming back to
Right.
get you.
Yeah. Right.
It's this one thing that's just
It's a
stuck, and you have
recording.
to see it. Yeah, like this old recording.
I have thought of
Jesus. I have goosebumps. Just
I have
talking
thought
about
of that
it.
where they act like how
I mean-
how ghosts can walk through walls or whatever, and it's like, well, it's because they may be walking an old path.
Yeah,
that
the wall wasn't there.
The wall wasn't there. So I've made a point anytime, and I've built a few houses.
Wasn't there a bit like that in Bioshock?
Anytime I'm in a house that I'm building, I make sure to walk between all of the fucking pillars, just in case my ghost ends up there and I can freak some people out.
I will deliberately.
Any hole in any wall, I'll walk through it.
I will deliberately haunt you.
Yeah, rather than just walking through, you should like go through like waving your arms and making scary faces like.
The proof that ghosts do not, separate from aliens, the proof that ghosts do not exist is Kurt Cobain in Guitar Hero 5. That is
He'd be kicking some ass.
That is a hauntable offense.
If I could haunt any of you
Although
guys,
Faye Dunaway apparently did claim she was haunted by Joan Crawford for doing "Mommy Dearest."
Ooh,
I don't care.
I'm so scared right now.
Now though, but ghosts could just have been aliens. Like people saw aliens.
Oh my
They were
God!
ghosts.
You want to talk about callback, calling everything back together?
Bioshock.
Bioshock. Here we are.
Designed by aliens.
Designed by Ken Levine.
Who mysteriously
Alien.
disappeared after
Alien.
the
Who is an
first one.
alien?
K-Alien! Oh my God!
I love how you went from alien to alien.
Hold on, I'm pulling a Jeff Goldblum. I'm going to come up with a revelation right now. All right, hopefully, to
God, that's
battle
a-
aliens, when it comes time, they're Mac compatible.
Dial M for alien.
And
And we can upload a virus
Yes.
into them, and they'll be like, "No, we were peaceful the whole time," and we'll be like, "Ha ha ha!"
and we were running Adaware aliens.
Now we're gonna take your technology and maraud the galaxy. Twist ending.
Yeah, that'll be the saddest truth is if the aliens come, we end up overthrowing them, and now we're the assholes in the fucking universe.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, really?
Oh, and the monsters were we.
You are all maniacs.
Let's end this.
Yeah, let's do.
Good night, everybody.
I'm working on a whole week's worth of content for the first week of March. That's what I'm doing.
More
all
content
next
based
week.
on social interactions. Sort
That's
of.
what you're doing?
I guess.
I'm doing a next week's top 7 on QuickTime events.
Ooh.
And then I'm, appropriately enough, later that week, I'm also writing an article on Heavy Rain. So
It's the longest QuickTime event of all time.
it kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of is, and a shitty story.
It's 8 hours, but it's
Oops.
branches.
Shitty right.
Maddie, you got anything going on in the pipeline?
I've got a feature about something that annoys people about games, and everyone loves reading about that. So
I know, EA. No, all right.
Activision.
Activision.
EA tried, and nobody bought their new games.
EA tried, and Activision's trying because they hired Dan Amrich.
They hired Dan away from us.
Dan, I miss you, Dan. One of Swords. Everybody check that out.
Yeah, Twitter at One of Swords, and then he has his blog.
Good night.
Taking us out is another Overclocked special from OC Remix. Again, I can't recommend the site enough. Like, if you like not just game music, but you're a fan of like diverse music, like just genres, and just to hear how they can turn genres. They can just turn, these musicians turn bleeps from NES music that I listen to and love, from NES, SNES, whatever system that has ever existed, and make it with real drums, guitars, strings, orchestra, like whatever you want. Like and Taking Us Out is one of my favorite mixes from Eco, actually, from Super Green X. Taking Us Out is one of my favorite mixes from Eco, PS2, wonderful game, as we all know, from Binster. It's called Eco Icon is what the remix is called. It's a little bit, it's electronic, but it's just this is a case of like a very subdued theme from the game. Like Ico's not a game where the music sticks out to anybody. It's a very atmospheric, ambient thing. Yeah. This is a case where a game inspires a song, and the feeling is very much like that. And I don't know, I really like it a lot. But again, check out Overclocked. Thanks to David and Larry for
post a link to it on the TalkRadar 89.
I'll take a link. It's from Binster, Ico, Icon.
All right. Good night, everybody.
You are being watched.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.